1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
And welcome on into the JR Sport Brief Show with Ryan Hickey, filling in with you right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. Woo! What a busy Wednesday we have. The news has just come down minutes ago. In case you missed it, get ready. Bill Belichick is officially going to college. He and North Carolina have agreed to terms. Bill will be the Tar Heels' next head coach. The hoodie is back on the sideline, this time in the ACC, just like I'm sure, right? We all envisioned when Bill was going to come back to football. We thought, of course, he was going to be on an ACC sideline down in Chapel Hill. That is the big news we have. Obviously, we're going to break down a lot of that news and the ramifications throughout the entirety of the show. We have Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker, coming on in just over an hour or so from now, 7:20 Eastern, 4:20 Pacific, as a guy who knows Bill, who has covered Bill. Will this work? Will his style translate to college? So many questions, so few answers. Ted Johnson, about an hour and 20 minutes from now, will help provide answers as to what we could expect from Bill Belichick at the college level. Let's start from this perspective. From North Carolina's perspective, I think this is a great move for them. I think this is an A-plus hire. I thought they should have gotten it done. I'm glad they did get it done. And I want to make my argument by actually looking at the other side. Let's look at it from the perspective of what's the worst case scenario here for Bill Belichick at UNC. Right, the worst case is this flames out. He goes 3-9, and he's probably fired in 2 years. Right, like that's probably as bad as it could get here with Bill Belichick at North Carolina. Okay, if that's the case, right? Okay. We've seen in college football now, turnarounds because of NIL, because of the transfer portal, can happen quicker than ever. Look at Indiana this year. They were a doormat in college football for really the entirety of their 100-plus year existence in college football. Yet they make the right hire in Kirk Cignetti, and all of a sudden they go from doormat to now in the college football playoff competing for a national championship in the span of 1 year. So if Bill tanks this program, and in 2 years you're looking at a program way worse off than where Mac Brown left it, which was at least bowl eligibility, 6, 7, 8 wins a year. If we're talking about a 3-9 program and a 2-10 program here in the 2 years Bill is there, okay. Indiana just showed you, amongst other schools as well, a turnaround can happen quickly. You know, going into the tank is nowhere near as detrimental in today's college football world as it used to be back in the day. So from North Carolina, then I ask you, if you're against this hire, if you're a UNC alum, a UNC fan, you just think in general, maybe a football fan, why the hell would North Carolina make this move? Well, my retort to you would then be just, what's the risk? Where's really the downside? This is a program that has been 49-51 since 2017. They're a 500 program. They haven't had, or I should say, they've had just one 10-win season since 1998. The ACC, which I think you could argue and say pretty fairly here, is by far the worst power conference in college football. Despite that, UNC has won just one ACC title since 1980. They have really struggled in football. They've really struggled to have consistent years. So with a program that's basically middling in the worst power conference of college football, since when is UNC above hiring the greatest coach to ever do it? I don't care that he hasn't had any college experience. When are you better than Bill Belichick? The answer is you're not. So again, if you are someone who thinks this is a bad move from UNC's perspective, doesn't think this will work, think they're desperate or just trying to chase headlines, what has UNC proved on the football field that says that they are better than Bill Belichick? That they should have gone a different direction? I don't see it. I don't see a downside. Because now with UNC making this hire, what they do, number one, is bring more attention to the program than ever before. And no one's really looking at North Carolina as must-watch TV. They've not had many big games. I get they've had Sam Howell and Mitch Trubisky, but no one is exactly tuning in to watch them play football on a weekly basis here for North Carolina. You watch some highlights for sure, but North Carolina is not exactly must-watch college football. Now it is. And I think also in turn by having Bill Belichick, you're going to get better recruits. Players are going to want to play for Bill. So when you look at this hire, I don't think Bill's going to tank. I think he's going to have success. Again, forget about the worst case scenario here for a second. When it actually comes to what I think will happen, I think he will have success. I think he will guide a program that is bare minimum respectable going forward here. One of the reasons why I believe that is because he's into it. Let's go back to last night when JR had Inside Carolina's Jason Staples on the show. Jason revealed this little nugget. I've never heard this before from any reports, anything I've read. Jason revealed this when it comes to who made first contact between Bill and North Carolina. Take a listen.
As I understand it, Belichick actually reached out to North Carolina and said, "Hey, I'm interested. Would you like to talk?" And well, I mean, if you're North Carolina in that situation, and one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game gives you a holler and says, "I'm interested," you at least hear him out. And so there's a video conversation and with him and several of the power brokers as making these decisions. And it's Bill Belichick. He kind of blew him away in that interview, and they realized that he was actually serious.
So you heard right from there. Again, you heard it last night on the JR SportBrief show, but in case you maybe missed last night's show, that was Jason Staples right here last night from Inside Carolina, who they've been on this story really since the jump of Bill to Carolina. Bill's into this. This is not a Monty Williams in Detroit situation where Monty Williams did not want to coach, and the Pistons last year made him an offer basically he could not refuse. He was there only for the money. You could tell early on he was not into it. He was apathetic, and by the end, they were one of the worst historical teams in NBA history, and they ran him out of town after just 1 year. Ripped up that gigantic contract, paid him out, and said, "Get out of here." This is not that. I think Bill's into this. I think he's actually going into it, giving full effort. I mean, hell, he allegedly made a 400-page manifesto. Connor Stevens, I'm sure, is proud. That he presented to UNC about everything from nutrition to guidelines to coaching salaries to NIL resources. Like, he outlined it all. He's into, I think, coaching college football. So he's not going to just be a skeleton on the sideline collecting a check. I think he's trying to win. And again, I think Bill Belichick, the coach, can still coach. And I think recruiting will be made easier because I think guys will still want to play for him. Like, you look at the NFL, I think the Patriot way is dead. And once Brady left, you could really tell not many players wanted to go to New England. That used to be a free agent destination because everyone that would go there would win. Once Brady was gone and the Belichick, still kept kind of doing the same thing over and over again, it seemed like a lot of the players tuned him out or just ignored him completely and went somewhere else in free agency. I think college players would listen to him. I think they'd be all in. They would see, despite a lot of them not being alive, which is scary to say, but a lot of them not being alive for most of Bill's success as a head coach, I think they would still see a successful NFL coach, a Super Bowl winner, and a guy that can get them to the NFL. That's the ultimate goal, right, in college football. Obviously, winning a national title, playing well is important, But a lot of kids, a lot of high-level players are going to college and using that as a stepping stone to get to the NFL. I think Bill can attract a lot of talent and sell a lot of kids on, I'll get you there. I know what it takes. Not many other coaches in college football have the experience I do. I know what teams look for. I know how to position you to where scouts will think you're impressive. I think a lot of kids will buy in. So I think he'll have the kid's ear. He's clearly into it. And you're in an ACC that's, again, wide open. Wide open. SMU in the first year of the conference ran right through it and got to the ACC title game. Clemson is still the top dog since they won again, right? But that's a program that is very vulnerable, that lost 3 games in the regular season this year. They are no longer, they are not what they used to be in mighty Clemson, where no one else really in the ACC had a chance. Plenty of teams now have a chance. So when you look at Bill going to Carolina, I think this will work. I think he'll have success. I think from UNC's perspective, I don't see a negative. Even if it tanks, even if Bill as a head coach stinks, can't get recruits, it just makes a total mockery of everything, and you fire him in 2 years, we have seen turnarounds happen in college football in the span of one offseason. That's all it takes. So you can quickly repair the damage Bill would do if the worst case scenario happens. I don't think the worst case scenario will happen. I think Bill will be a successful coach. And so from North Carolina's perspective, this to me is a massive win. A gigantic W for the Tar Heels. I'm very excited to see where this does go for them. I want to ask you, though, at 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. You can also tweet me, Ryan_Hickey, and the number 3 on social media. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR. And also, we're streaming this show live on YouTube, where you can write in the comment section on our stream, which is on the Infinity Sports Network YouTube page. Do you think Bill will have success? Do you think Bill Belichick can have success as North Carolina's head coach? Let's get a glimpse into what UNC was looking for. Their athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, was talking to UNC Athletics, and he was basically asked this was last week, but even before the Belichick news came out. He was asked what he's looking for, the criteria that he's going to kind of look for here in the next head coach. Take a listen.
I think the most important thing is fit. It really is. There's a certain person that's best suited at the right time, at the right place. And right now, that's what we're looking for. Where are we today, and who can lead us in the next 3, 5, 10 years? We've got a lot of transition going on with revenue share. NIL is starting to not fade away, but we'll be less reliant on NIL, more reliant on revenue share. We have the transfer portal. We have signing day. We have to develop this program. As we've said, we've been right at the cusp of really great seasons, getting to 8, 9 wins. How do we get to 10, 11? Who can get us to that level? What kind of players do we need to get to that level? So that's where we need somebody that can come in and take us, again, from good to great. From good to great. I'm not sitting here guaranteeing Bill can do that, but from the names you have read and that have been out there in terms of who UNC has hired, I mean, there's nobody with the pedigree of Bill Belichick. I think this is, if you're UNC, I think this is a great hire for them. I think they absolutely made the right move. And I think we will see success in Chapel Hill for Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels. 855-212-4227. That is the number to call. I want to hear your thoughts here. I think he will be successful. Do you? Do you think Bill Belichick can have success now as he goes to college for the first time in his career? Can he have success at UNC as now their new head coach? 855-212-4227. You can also tweet me again, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. When we return, you may be asking yourself, well, Ryan, what constitutes success? What does having success mean? What's the bar? I'll tell you. What I think Bill Belichick can actually accomplish. What would be success? What would be a successful season and a successful tenure for him now as North Carolina's head coach? We'll get into that when we do return. This is the JR Sport Brief Show. It is Ryan Hickey filling in. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. And we are streaming, not only streaming, but broadcasting to you live right here, of course, on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
JR wants to hear from you. Call him now at 855-212-4227.
The boy is back. The victorious boy in Bill Belichick, who's returning to the sidelines, not the NFL sidelines, the college football sidelines. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network on this Wednesday. The big news we learned minutes ago, Bill Belichick officially now becomes the North Carolina head coach. Just agreed to a deal a few minutes ago. The stipulations that he put out there, I guess, were met. We'll see as we get more details. We'll fill you in on what those, stipulations are. There's reports and rumors. Well, Steve Belichick, his son, be, named the coach in waiting for Bill. What's the salary looking like? What is the NIL situation looking like? What are the resources that are going to be committed to the football team as a basketball school? What will that look like? It seems like North Carolina met a lot of these demands from Bill Belichick, and now it is official. Bill is their head coach. Do you think he will succeed? Making his debut as a college football head coach, having zero experience outside of his dad coaching a few college programs and him kind of just tagging along. Bill has zero actual coaching experience in college. Will he succeed now as UNC's head coach? 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Also on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 is where you can tweet me. Let's define success. Because you may be asking yourself, well, what does success look like, Ryan? Is it a national championship? Is it just bowl eligibility? I don't think UNC under Bill Belichick is going to be competing for a national title. Right? I don't think right now, if you're a Georgia fan, an Ohio State fan, an Alabama fan, an Oregon fan, you're not sitting there shaking your boots of, oh my God, Bill Belichick's coming to the ACC. We're screwed. We're screwed. College football is going to run through him. No. UNC will not be a perennial college football national title contender. I don't think they'll ever be in the national title conversation during Bill's tenure. But what I think he can do is win 8 games a year. I think he can consistently go 8-4, which I get is what Mac Brown sort of did. But I think he can go 8-4 here on a consistent basis. And I think there can be a year, let's say he's there for 4 years. I think at least one of the 4 years, you could see a situation where the schedule breaks North Carolina's way. You get a break or two as well. Maybe a top team struggles a little bit. And I think you can see UNC in the ACC title game down in Charlotte, 60 minutes away from playing for a college football playoff berth. I think we could see that. I think we could see UNC right there on the cusp, knocking the door of making a 12-team playoff. And by that point, it could be 14 teams, 16 teams, who knows? I think Bill can absolutely make the playoff. I think he's a good enough coach. I think recruits will want to play for him. I think the transfer portal can help add some additions quickly here. And I think the ACC, again, is wide open enough to where I can't really see on a year-in, year-out basis one team dominating that league. I mean, hell, Florida State went from the penthouse last year going 12-0 to the outhouse this year. They were awful. So you see how volatile the ACC is, where now the team that's really been the most consistent since 2015 in Clemson, they don't look as formidable as they used to. So I think right now when you look at the conference layout, when you look at right now the college football with the 12-team playoff and Bill's coaching acumen, I think absolutely you can see UNC every year go 8-4, 9-3, maybe one year go 10-2, make the ACC title game, and be playing for a spot in the college football playoff. That to me is what success looks like. That's what I expect. That is what I expect from Bill in the 2, 3, 4 years he's there. I don't think, by the way, this is like a stepping stone. I think this is Bill's last stop, I should say. He's 72 years old. How much gas does he really have left in the tank to coach another, 7 or 8 years? I'm not really sold. I think this is his last stop. To where whenever that North Carolina tenure does end, I don't think he's using this to get back in the NFL. I don't think he's using North Carolina to get a bigger college job. I don't think he's going to the SEC or a premium Big Ten job. I think UNC's his one and only stop in college. And I just don't know when it comes to NFL. Right, because that's why he's going to college. Let's be real, right? He's an NFL guy. The reason why he's going to college is because there's no NFL interest, and the guy wants to coach. So when you look at the motivation for him to go to college, where it's basically getting spurned by the NFL, will teams now become interested? And apparently, according to reports as well, Belichick's been picky about where he wants to go, NFL-wise, right? There are jobs open. He would never go to the Jets. I don't think he would go to a place like Jacksonville either. He's particular about where he wants to go. And at least the good organizations right now seemingly have no interest in hiring him. I don't think their perception of Bill will change based on how he does at college. I don't think there's, even though you can argue the game is getting closer to the NFL because the transfer portal can be like free agency, recruiting can be like the draft. There's now, NIL and revenue sharing, which is like the salary cap. There are similarities between college and the NFL. I just don't think teams, NFL teams that is, will see if Bill has success. I don't think they're going to come knocking on his door to bring him back to the NFL. I think they feel the way they feel about him. He's going to want control, and I don't think anybody wants to fully give over the reins to Bill no matter what he does at Carolina. So I think this is the last stop for him. I think this is the last time we'll see Bill on a sideline. I think he'll be there, I will say right now, 3 years. That is my feel. 3 years on the North Carolina sideline, probably steps down, gives it to his son. And I hope, at least, he rides off into the sunset. Enjoy life. Look, coaching, I get it's what you love, but it's so grueling. It's so taxing. You get one life. Enjoy it, man. Go on vacation. See the sights. You got a young girlfriend. Take her out. Treat her, buy her something nice. Enjoy it. But I think Bill, this is his last stop. We'll see him for 3 years at North Carolina. And I think, again, we could see him knock in the door of making the 12-team college football playoff and get UNC to a place they've never gone before, which is the playoff.
I'm so surprised he left his media career, too. I mean, usually a lot of those coaches, and they go to the media, and they're like, I want nothing to do with coaching anymore. But they hang it up, and they're like, all right, I'll be a media personality. I'll be like a halftime show guy. And they enjoy doing that. So what Saban did. And he loves it. Sometimes it surprises me.
It's also different with Saban, at least because, right, Saban retired. Bill was fired.
This is true.
He wants to. I think he's doing all the media to try to coach again. Now, I like him. I'm with you. Like, I wish he stayed. I wish he stayed in the media. I think he's good at it. Yeah. I think he's funny. I think he's personable. He's obviously extremely knowledgeable. So I think him in the media was actually a great thing. It sucks that it was so short-lived. But I'm excited to see what he does at college. I am very excited here. That is for sure. Speaking of which, Bubba Cunningham, the North Carolina AD, again, he was speaking to their in-house media at UNC a few days ago, again, before even the Belichick rumors first came out. And he was asked basically by UNC Athletics, what are you prioritizing here in your next head coach search? Listen to what North Carolina's AD had to say about that.
My preference has always been hire somebody that's done it. Hire a head coach, either a sitting head coach or somebody that has done it. And then I think the last 3 or 4 hires I've made, I didn't do that. So I recognize that's where I start, but I don't always end up there.
So clearly, right, looking for an experienced head coach. Can you find one more experienced than Bill? Now, again, I get it's all on the NFL level. But Bill, I think what makes also my belief in his transition easier from NFL to college is he does have a system of winning. Right, like it's not just a scheme or it's not just a player that is the reason why the Patriots are so successful and won 6 Super Bowls under him and Brady. It is an entire system. It's belief in the coaching staff. It's the strength system. It's the whole do your job mantra, right? Like it is it's an entire philosophy essentially he's bringing that translates, I think, across all of football. This is not an NFL-specific philosophy that will not work in college. I think it's a philosophy that works across all football. So I think Bill, despite having no college experience, I think he's going to work. I think he's going to have success. I think you can expect, I should say, 8-4, 9-3 on a consistent basis. And I think one of those 3 or 4 years he's the coach, I think we could be talking about North Carolina in the mix to make the college football playoff. I still think we'll talk about them in the national title conversation, right? Making the playoff and competing for national titles, 2 different things. SMU and Clemson are in the playoff. I don't hear anybody picking them as dark horses to win the whole thing. So I think they can make the playoff here under Bill for sure with how open the ACC is. But what about you? 855-212-4227. Do you believe Bill can have success at North Carolina? Let's go to Connor calling from Ohio. What up, Con?
Hey, appreciate you taking my call.
Of course, man. Thanks for making it. What's on your mind?
I think Bill Belichick going to UNC, I think he will definitely make the team a great team, without a doubt. I think adding additionally the transfer portal and NIL and all that it'll definitely be another task that will provide a little bit more of a challenge for Belichick, because let's be honest here, coaching in college has been made somewhat more difficult than coaching in the NFL because of the NIL,
right?
And dealing with all those complications in the transfer portal. So I think it'll definitely be an additional challenge for him. But based on what you've been saying and what I've been hearing about his drive and the grit and how much he really wants to get back into this that he has, I think the additional challenge of the NIL and the transfer portal will not provide too much of a setback for him whatsoever, because of the fact he's so eager to get back into it. I think he's willing to undertake the tasks. I just think when the season he coaches in is over, I'm sure they will most definitely have a fairly decent position. The team will be in a decent position. I'm sure they'll make it far, but it'll definitely be a time for him to reflect on maybe what he decided to take on with the NIL and the transfer portal, but we'll have to see. I don't know.
Right, and there's a lot of unknown, Connie. I appreciate the call, buddy. It's interesting because I think a comp you can make here is to Deion Sanders of Colorado, because you look at Deion, he doesn't make house visits. I think I saw somewhere it's like he's made basically 4 or 5 house visits to like recruits in his time at Colorado. So usually, right, that's been a norm where you see Nick Saban, in high school kids' living rooms and doing dances with grandma. Kirby Smart's on the sideline on Friday nights at high school games across the country. It sounds like, at least with the way the staff is being set up here, that there are going to be a lot of dedicated recruiters to where you're maybe going to call Bill in at the last moment, but will he be on the road? It does not seem like it. And look, in this new era, do you have to be on the road? I don't know. I thought you had to be honest with you. I really thought so. And then look at Deion Sanders and the success he's had this year at Colorado, where he won 8 games and was able actually to get some solid players out of the transfer portal and make this team better this year compared to last year. He did so basically by staying in Boulder the whole time. Having, recruits and, transfer portal players come to campus, but he's not really going to them. And so maybe that is a new change now, to where you don't have to go out on the road. And now it's not as taxing as maybe a college coach. It used to be when you're recruiting basically all of season. It's something we're going to find out. But again, I don't expect Bill, let's say, to be in living rooms here 3-4 days a week in the offseason like a lot of college coaches used to back in the day, let's say 5 years ago. 855-212-4227. Let's go to Chris in Alabama. What's up, Chris?
I think Bill Belichick, sure he can. Prime example, Coach Prime. Anybody can transition. The key to it being is, can he appeal to the modern young day recruit? Because prime example, Saban, part of the reason why he left is because Saban shouldn't have to sing, do a song and dance for a kid who pretty much is trying to make something out of themselves to sign with them. Their resume alone should speak for him.
Right.
And that's the real question. I want to know, who would you have on your staff to help in the recruiting, as well as recruiting the youth nowadays?
I hear, Chris. I gotta let you go because I could barely hear what you're saying, and there's some background noise. But I got the overall point. To your point, you're basically asking how can Bill appeal to the younger generation here? I'll make a comp here, and I'll use Deion Sanders again. Deion Sanders was able just to get the number 2 recruit, who also happens to be the number 2 quarterback in all of high school recruiting. His name is Julian Lewis. He was able to get him away from USC and on his Colorado squad here a few weeks ago. Big get for Colorado. Julian Lewis went to Colorado to play for Deion Sanders in part because of what Deion did as a player and his ability to develop and get him to the pros. I think Bill Belichick, in connecting to the younger generation now of 17 and 18-year-olds, I think he puts those 6 rings on the table. I think he tells them basically, look, you want to get to the NFL. I know what it takes to get to the NFL. I can get you ready more than almost any coach in the country because, unlike almost every other coach in the country, no one has coached the longevity and had the success that I have in the NFL. So your ultimate goal is the NFL. I know how to get you there. Come play for me. I think right then and there we will see. I think that's the recruiting pitch. And I think for kids, like that is, for a lot of them, the goal, right? It is to go to the NFL. College is great, and having, individual success, maybe winning a trophy, winning a championship is obviously important, but the ultimate goal is to go to the NFL and get paid and be a star. That's what everyone thinks they're going to do. And Bill does have that advantage of, well, look at me. Look at my rings. I think his message started to fall on deaf ears to NFL players. Because a lot of NFL players, again, saw what happened when Brady left. And, okay, do I buy in here? Is the leadership there? Is this team right now going anywhere? I think his voice started to get tuned out at the NFL level. I don't think 16, 17, 18-year-old kids are tuning him out. I think they're going to look at him as a way to catapult their chances of getting to the NFL. And his guidance, I think, will be leaned on. I think there will be more tolerance for kids maybe compared to other coaches in other schools where they're more willing to be patient or they're more willing to go there than they otherwise would if any other coach is there in North Carolina because it's Bill. We'll see how this breaks down, but I think there is still that level of awe and respect from high school kids. And I think Bill can sell to them, your ultimate goal is to go to the NFL. I can get you there, and I can really get you there better than almost anyone else can. I know what it takes. I know what it looks like. That's, I think, the recruiting pitch, and that's why I do think Bill will have success recruiting. I think that message would hit home. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. We'll continue to take your thoughts here. Do you think Bill Belichick will have success now that he's entering the college game for the first time ever, as it was announced a minute ago that he is now the new head coach at North Carolina? 855-212-4227. You can also tweet me, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. And you can also write us on our YouTube chat as well. Infinity Sports Network is where we are live streaming the show, where Billy Wolf does believe that, Belichick can outcoach a lot of the ACC coaches. I would agree. I think the X's and O's from Bill there will be better than most ACC coaches we see. Maybe not O'Brien, which I'm excited to see that matchup for. Look at the schedule, see if we got a little North Carolina, Boston College battle of the former Patriot minds. But otherwise, I think he can have a lot of success and have schematically an advantage over most ACC coaches. So plenty of ways to get involved in the show here. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll continue to take your thoughts. And we also return. Let's talk about why the NBA Cup is going on currently. In case you didn't know, I don't blame you. I think there's a reason why it's still not working despite this being year number 2. I'll tell you why after we get this latest sports update from Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, football season is heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code PRIMETIME, get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it is lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. New sheriff in town at Chapel Hill. Bill Belichick, North Carolina, reportedly in agreement to become the new head coach. 6-time Super Bowl winner gets his first ever crack at coaching in the college game after being in the NFL every season from 1975 through 2023. Tar Heels looking to Belichick to lead them to the promised land as they haven't won an ACC championship since 1980. White Sox reportedly sending starter Garrett Crochet to the Red Sox in exchange for 4 prospects. Crochet dominated his first season as a starter. 25-year-old struck out 209 batters in 145 innings as Boston gets a new ace to lead their staff. Winter meetings ongoing. Houston reportedly open to trading outfielder Kyle Tucker, who's been a free agent after the season. Plenty of teams said to be interested, including the Cubs, the Giants, the Phillies, and the Yankees, who could be looking at Tucker to fill the void left by Juan Soto, who was officially announced as a Met today. NBA Cup rolls on. Second half of the quarterfinals. Knicks taking on the Hawks next hour with the right to face the Bucks. Then it's the Warriors and Rockets with Steve Kerr taking it seriously despite the tournament being in its infancy.
This cup is really an interesting addition, to the season. Our guys are excited. I think in year 2, it feels like there's a little more momentum than last year. People know what it is, obviously.
Winner takes on the Thunder in the semis, and Raptors forward Scotty Barnes likely out several weeks with a sprained ankle. They were just 2-9 when Barnes missed 11 games earlier this season with a fractured bone in his face. I'm Marco Belletti.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
but they never wanna leave. Excess and the oh-oh-ohs, they haunt me. Like the oh-oh-ohs, they want me to make them oh-oh-oh, they won't let go. My exes.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It is Ryan Hickey in for JR on this Wednesday. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. A busy Wednesday here. We're getting a lot of news. The big news and story of the day is Bill Belichick has agreed to become North Carolina's next head coach. The hoodie is coming to college for the first time ever. Not the only college football head coaching news we got. This from Pete Thamel about 30 minutes ago. West Virginia has announced they are bringing Rich Rodriguez back. Deal is not yet done, but it's working towards completion. If you remember, Rich Rod was there from 2001 to 2007. He went 16-26. He was a great West Virginia head coach before going on to take the Michigan job. He was at Jacksonville State most recently. Now he's headed back to Morgantown to take over what he used to run down there as well. So West Virginia gets, or at least is on the path to bringing Rich Rod back. And UNC hires Bill Belichick, which I will give Nicole Auerbach of NBC Sports. Maybe she easily has a tweet of the day, one of the tweets of the year. She tweeted, I'll read this verbatim. 12 months from now, Bill Belichick could be covered in mayonnaise. If you don't get the reference, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is coming up here, they douse the winning head coach in a giant tub of mayo. Essentially the Gatorade bath, but instead of Gatorade, it's mayo. Could you, and it's an ACC-sponsored bowl game. So we could absolutely see if UNC next year is 7-5, 8-4, I would say there's a likely chance we're looking at Bill Belichick in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Jack, could you imagine Bill Belichick's reaction to getting mayo dumped on him? Sign me. I am all in. All. This just I didn't think about that. It keeps getting better. Bill going to college. I am in for this.
Like dumping mayo on you. That sounds pretty awful.
It sounds like it should be the punishment, honestly, for losing, not the reward for winning.
Yeah, usually it's like the Gatorade bath. You know, they dump a bucket of ice water on you. That's all great. I'm all in for that. But to dump mayonnaise on the guy, and then you gotta. Oh, God, just the thought of that really grosses me out.
I agree. The shower, and you got to shower immediately. It's not a great tradition.
And then you got to go to do your press conference, and you smell like mayo.
Yuck. Disgusting. But just imagine Bill.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
Like that, and if you go back to the last game UNC played against NC State, North Carolina lost at home. What does NC State do? They plant their flag in the middle of the logo. Imagine we get a little rivalry game next year where Bill's having to try to, explain why his players are planting flags. Like, there's just so much stupidity. That's why, honestly, I love college football. Because there's so much that makes no sense at all. But there's so much of that stupidity that Bill is now going to have to deal with that. I cannot wait to see how the most serious person in sports handles it. Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, he dealt with adults his entire career. I mean, even when he was an assistant coach, in the 70s. And I didn't realize he was from 1975 to 2023 in Marco's update. I didn't know he was a coach that long.
Jack, he's 72.
I mean, I know that.
He's been coaching his whole life.
I knew that. I knew he was a coach forever. If you told me what year it was, I definitely wouldn't have said 1975. But, now he's going to have to deal with, college students and, hey, you guys can't go out this week because you're 19, 20 years old.
Oh, I can't wait for that. First, underage.
What?
Finals week coming around. They got to study. Bill, this is.
Yeah, he's got to be okay, there's a curfew because you have school tomorrow. He's never had to deal with that a minute in his entire coaching career. Bad curfews is one thing, but being all right, how's your grade in Spanish 101?
Mm-hmm.
How is English lit going for so-and-so?
I can't wait.
That's going to be amazing.
I cannot wait. According to The Athletic, by the way, Bill's contract with North Carolina expected to be a 3-year, $30 million deal. So $10 million a year for Bill. Will be one of the highest paid college football coaches in the country immediately. And it's a short-term deal. Again, he's 72 to be expected. Right? He's not getting a 5-year, 10-year deal. 3 years, $30 million for Bill's new deal at North Carolina. 855-212-4227. We'll get to the NBA Cup here in 1 second. I do want to, though, go to Scott in South Carolina. What's up, Scott?
What's up, guys? Man, I live in South Carolina. I've been a Tar Heel fan all my life. Kelvin Bryant was the reason I started pulling for him way back in the day. But I'm excited about this. And you talk about dealing with curfews and everything. I mean, this man coached the greatest player to ever play in the NFL and suit up and had to deal with all the ridiculousness that Lawrence Taylor brought to the table and managed it. So, I mean, I ain't even worried about it. And his ability to coach, I'm excited. My brothers and a lot of my other buddies that are South Carolina fans and Clemson fans they're like, oh, man, he's too old. He's this. To see his eagerness to call out, to reach out, in my mind, I got to think he's thinking, how great would it be to walk away from football knowing I got 6 Super Bowl rings and maybe or maybe multiple national championship rings. And if he gets things rolling in the right path in 3 years and has a chance to go to that playoff, he's not walking away until he gets one. I just see him being that guy. There's not many guys that can say, I won multiple national championships and I got 6 Super Bowl rings. He'd be the only one. To me, that's what, because it ain't about the money. He's got plenty of it. He's got a reason he's doing this. And I think it's to prove to people that he left New England like he didn't want to. He's not walking away from football like that. And I'm excited to see what he does and how he does. And the fact that he's never coached in college, guess what? It's a whole new world of college football with NIL and these prima donnas wanting this and prima donnas wanting that. He's dealt with that in the NFL his whole life. I can't wait to watch what this man does at UNC with the money that's there. And let's see how much Michael Jordan starts supporting that football program and the money that's put into that program once he starts winning.
That's true, Scott. Appreciate the call. I would not call athletes wanting money prima donnas. I would just call that rightful compensation. But hey, look, to each their own in terms of how you want to dress it up. But no, I'm very excited. I think Bill can have success. I think he brings a new energy, a new perspective that I think will work with younger recruits. And look, I don't think it hurts that he has a younger girlfriend who's in her mid-20s. Like, she can help. I think there, honestly, is a small part of that can help him connect with high school students or even transfer portal kids as he's trying to get them on his team. It can't hurt. Definitely cannot hurt.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible for sure. 855-212-4227. We'll get more to this here at the top of the hour. In terms of, like, from Bill's perspective, what does he have to gain? What's the point of this? We'll get into that here. But one thing I want to touch on here, the NBA Cup is in year number 2 of its existence. Last year, went over, great, the Lakers won, who cares? This year, I feel, honestly, more the same. I don't think there's really any buzz about it. I don't really hear many people talking about it. Yesterday, we had 2 teams clinch their place and go into Vegas to the Final Four. 2 more tonight. I know why there's no buzz. And to me, it makes sense. And I don't think there'll ever be buzz for the NBA Cup because the teams that are competing in it to win, right, are the teams that have bigger goals. So, for example, here, the 2 teams last night that clinched their spot in the Final Four of the NBA Cup, the Bucks and the Thunder. Wouldn't you say that their biggest goals in the season is winning a championship, right? Like, nothing is going to replace the number 1 goal of winning a championship, and nothing, I think, will replace a disappointment if you don't get to that goal. You know, if the Bucks lose in round number 1, but they win the NBA Cup, or people are going to call that a successful season, hell no. I would imagine you probably see Doc Rivers fired in that scenario, and probably you'll have a report or 2, maybe it actually happens this time, of Giannis wanting out of Milwaukee. The other 2 teams, or 4 teams playing for 2 spots tonight, Knicks, Hawks, Warriors, Rockets. Like, in the case of the Knicks and the Warriors, right, you're still looking to win a championship. That's the ultimate goal. And so, like, for the NBA, now when you have these finalists here competing for the NBA Cup, all the good teams are going to be competing and winning the Cup because the best teams in the regular season win. And so it doesn't matter for them because, again, their ultimate goal is winning an NBA title. That's where their focus is. That's where the fans' focus is. I don't think an NBA Cup is going to replace anything in terms of feelings of disappointment and frustration if they can't get through the ultimate goal, which is raising the Larry O'Brien trophy. Like, I think teams that would care about the NBA Cup are like teams that are really not playing for anything. For example, the Nets. We have someone who works here, you may have heard of him, Alex Azarm. Does a great job producing for us here at Infinity Sports Network. He's a huge Nets fan. He wants them to lose every game because he wants the best pick to try to get Cooper Flag except he wants to win NBA Cup games because he knows, hey, look, we're not going anywhere, but if we can win the NBA Cup, at least that's something that's kind of cool. Like, I think the teams that would care about the Cup, the Hornets, the Nets, the Pistons, I think those teams and their fans would care about it. The problem is they're not good enough, right, to win it. They're not beating the Bucks. They're not beating the Celtics. They're not beating the Thunder. So the teams that would care are not good enough to win it, and the teams that are making the Final Four and are winning the NBA Cup don't care about it because they have bigger goals. I just don't think this will ever get traction or legs, and I don't think this will ever really have the weight that Adam Silver and the NBA hoped it was going to have here when it was implemented last year. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. When we do return, why is Bill Belichick doing this? What's it for him? We'll get into that when we do return again. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
And welcome on into the JR Sport Brief show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR on this Wednesday. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening. The news we are reacting to, discussing a lot of so far here at hour number 1. Bill Belichick officially becoming North Carolina's next head coach. If you missed any part of that conversation, you need to start the show. Easy way to find it. Hick At Nite podcast page. Nite spelled N-I-T-E. Available wherever you do get your pods. Go check it out. That's where you can catch up here on everything that you may have missed from hour number 1. Joining us 20 minutes from now will be Ted Johnson. Former Patriots linebacker, played under Bill Belichick as a player, covered him in the media up in the Boston area for NBC Sports Boston as well. He knows Bill very well. I have so many questions here for Ted in terms of how the hell Bill's style is going to translate. Can he connect with college players? Is this a stepping stone? Is he using UNC to get back to the NFL? There's a lot here to break down. Ted will hopefully give us some answers here in about 20 minutes or so. When you look at it from Bill Belichick's perspective, right? We talked in hour number 1 a lot from UNC's perspective. What about Bill's perspective? I will say here, taking this job, I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he's like in college football. I think it's good for the sport overall. I think he'll bring eyeballs to the university and himself. But when you really think about it, right, from Bill's perspective, this is a gigantic risk. And there's a lot more for him to lose than there is to gain. When you think about what he has to gain, it's really some respectability. Like, think about it, right? We know how the last few years, once Tom Brady left, how that happened. Outside of the one playoff year of Mac Jones, it's been a lot of bad up in New England. And it's been a lot of ugly offensive play as well. And obviously we know Brady leaves New England, goes to Tampa, wins the Super Bowl right away, and they're in Super Bowl contention for the time he's there with the Buccaneers. So night and day difference, right? Brady won that breakup. I think Bill, because he's human, I think he is still trying to close that gap that right now Brady has taken because of his success in Tampa Bay. And any argument you want to have Brady or Belichick, right? Brady wins that in part because how we saw the two sides post-breakup. I think Bill partly trying to close that gap. I just don't think college success can do that. And let's say the craziest thing in the world happens. He goes to UNC, has instant success. We're talking about UNC winning the ACC, making the college football playoff, winning games, maybe making the Final Four, maybe beating someone like Georgia, maybe winning a national title. Does Bill's legacy change that much? I'm not so sure. I don't think it changes as much in the positive as it would change in the negative. To where if he goes to Chapel Hill and flames out, is 3-9, 2-10. A lot of what you saw at the end of his tenure in New England is what you're seeing in North Carolina. Disgruntlement. He looks miserable. The players are miserable. Everyone is transferring out of the program. NAL is a mess. If it's as bad as you could ever imagine it to be, isn't the damage done there massive? Oh, yep. Bill was only, helped out by Brady. Once Brady left, we saw how New England did. They went down, Brady went up, and now Bill tried it again in college, and boy, was it even a bigger disaster. Like, I think he has a lot more to lose here than he does to gain. I think there's a lot more for Bill Belichick to get scrutinized for than praised for. And that's why I think if you're a UNC fan, you should be excited for this. As weird as that sounds, because I think Bill's all in. His full intent is to go there, give it his all, and have success. I don't think he's using this to get back into the NFL. I don't think he's using this just for attention. I mean, he doesn't need it. I think he genuinely likes coaching. I think he's trying to win every single game he's coaching. And I think taking a year off, looking around the landscape, assessing maybe what he could do better, what could work here, what could not, I think he'll come in as a better coach. I think he'll go to Carolina as a better coach than when he left New England. And so that should be exciting. Plus, again, with so much on the line, I think there's more for Bill to lose than gain. I think you're going to get Bill's best if you're Carolina. I think he's going to try as hard as he can. I think he's going to make sure there's a system there in place where if it works, I think you can have a system that's there for the long haul, even past his head coaching tenure. I think we could see a lot of success here or a lot of positives from Bill with Carolina, but I think it is, you had to point it out. If you're Belichick here, it is a risk. There is, I think, a lot more for you to gain. A lot more for you to lose than to gain. And it makes you wonder, is the risk worth the reward? Will he win a national championship? I don't think so. Can he win the ACC? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I think for me, expectations are about 8-4, 7-5, right in that range. Again, maybe 1 year of the three. Let's say you sign a 3-year, $30 million deal. Maybe one of those 3 years, he can get to the ACC title game. And then at that point, if you're in the game, right, you're 60 minutes away from making the college football playoff. But I think, again, the upside there versus the downside of, the bottom drops out, Bill's not very good, a lot of questions come around, right? The saying is there for a reason. You either die the hero or you stay around long enough to see yourself become the villain. I'm afraid for Bill. This right now seems like riding the wall of he's hanging around a little bit too long here. He could turn into the villain in the sense of a great coach now will be, easy for me to say, more remembered for the latter years as a failure versus the great years where he presided over a team that won 6 Super Bowls and went to 9. It's almost kind of like Al Michaels, where I know there's been a lot of people coming to Al Michaels' defense in the media because Al's a legend, and he is a legend, no doubt about it. But with that said, that doesn't excuse the fact that he has absolutely lost his fastball, and it's impossible for anybody to feel anything but that he's mailing in this Thursday Night Football gig with Amazon. There's very little passion. He's guessing on some names. He's missing plays. There's no energy. He has completely mailed it in. He's doing it for the check, and that's it. But yet a lot of media folks say he's a legend. How dare you disrespect and criticize Al Michaels? No, if you want to hang around, right, you open then yourself up to criticism. That doesn't take away from what you did in your heyday. But now, again, the longer that you hang around and put out bad performances, fair or not, this is a what have you done for me lately society. Bill is a Hall of Fame coach. For my money, he's the greatest coach in NFL history. I think his success we saw in New England for really 2 decades he presided over, that where they went to 10 Super Bowls, went to 9, won 6, was always in the mix, dominated the AFC East. I don't think we'll ever see a run of that dominance again for that prolonged amount of time. But now the longer Bill hangs around and he starts to stack up poor year after poor year, you do open yourself up to criticism. And for a lot of people, fair or not, those great years start to kind of fade away. Just like Al Michaels. The great broadcasting moments he's had all throughout his career amongst various sports quickly kind of get hard to remember when you're hearing him on Thursday Night Football kind of sit there and mail it in. And again and again and again, year after year after year. The more you see it, the more it's like, wow, this is really bad. That's my only fear here with Bill. And that's why I do wonder from his perspective. I get it from North Carolina's perspective. I think this is a good move for them. But from his perspective, is this truly worth it? I would probably say no. I think he has more to lose than he has to gain. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. Again, Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker, joining us. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network in about 12 minutes, if you want to get exact here, right here on the show. Let's go to David calling from Dallas. What's up, David?
Hey, Hickey, how different is this, though, than Michael Jordan going to the Wizards?
I think a lot different. I mean, playing and coaching is two different things. I mean,
I understand.
Coaching is mental.
Jordan,
playing is physical. When you don't got it, you don't got it.
But Jordan already had his legacy defined as the greatest player. I mean, we're talking about the greatest player to greatest coach.
Right.
And
So you're
Jordan
saying you're
already
talking about you're talking about it from a legacy perspective.
Yes, I was going to say people don't even talk about Michael Jordan on the Wizards, really.
Yes, you're right. David, a few things with that comp specifically. Number one, Michael Jordan is maybe the most unfairly viewed athlete ever. And I'm not saying he's done anything to take that deserves criticism. What I mean by is everybody talks so fondly, and I think he sometimes even the low points get overlooked, and no one talks about early on his struggles of getting to the finals. I just think his career is so, what's the word here? Glorified. And there's so much nostalgia because of its 90s basketball that I think a lot of the warts in general that we would remember for otherwise any great athlete, his warts get glossed over more than any other athletes would. That's number one. Number two, he quit after winning the sixth and final trophy, finals, and then came back for the Wizards for 3 years. Before he came back to the Wizards, at least quit on top. Belichick, for all his greatness, he was fired. Right? He didn't quit. He was fired by the Patriots for poor performance because he didn't draft well. He didn't sign good free agents, and the team in the Patriots was not very good. We saw a downfall and a great coach struggle right in front of our eyes at the end. If Bill then now comes back and coaches Carolina, and let's say he picks up where his Patriots tenure left off, and we're talking about a 4-8, 3-9 Carolina team here that's not very good, people are going to remember that because now it's two stops where he struggled to win at the end. That's why I don't think the Michael Jordan comp is fair in the sense of, no one brings up the Jordan years. You're right in Washington. I think Michael Jordan's also an athlete that is talked about one of one. No one else has talked about the way Jordan is talked about. And with Bill struggling at the end of the Patriots tenure once Tom Brady left, and then if he struggles now in Carolina in a different sport, in a different league, I should say, with a different team, and it's kind of the same old, Bill's not going to get the same grace Michael Jordan did when people just ignore the Wizards years. I can promise you that. Before we get to Ted Johnson here, I do want to make one thing. I want to make a point about the Eagles because remember, there's been a lot of talk about the drama. Obviously, Brandon Graham went viral for his comments about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. They used to be friends, now they're not. They're going through some stuff. I don't think in the end the Eagles' drama is going to cost them this season. They, to me, are still the team to beat. And I still think they're going to have a deep playoff run here. But what I want to focus on is the source of frustration, right? Because last year you can make the argument, look, they were 10-1 and just fell, the bottom fell right around this time. Why I think this year is different than last year, while we're kind of starting to see the same script over again, look at the source of frustration last year. It was with the coaching staff. Or you've had many players after the year on the record say, we didn't trust the coaching staff. They didn't trust the players coming in. They didn't trust the game plan. They kind of were freeballing it at the end and knew what they wanted. The lack of trust in the coaching staff is why the Eagles went from 10-1 to just a flat-out embarrassment and a first-round exit to Tampa Bay last year. Why I think this year is different is the source of frustration is different. This is not a frustration with the coaching staff. This is a frustration if you're A.J. Brown with the targets you're getting. He's frustrated with Jalen Hurts because he's not getting the ball. Brown this year has 48 receptions on the season. That is 47th most in the NFL. His 66 targets rank 57th among all NFL receivers. Is A.J. Brown the 57th best receiver? Hell no. He should be getting way more. He should be top 5 in targets. But here's why he's not getting them. It's not because he's not open. Not because he's not a good receiver. It's because the Eagles' identity has changed. They acquired Saquon Barkley. They're the best rushing team in the NFL. They are now a run first, run second, throw third team. And they're having success running the ball. Why would you stop? Saquon Barkley is on an MVP run right now. Why would you take the ball out of his hands? It would be bad coaching if they did that. So when you look at the Eagles, right now, their recipe for success is working. They are running the ball. They have a great defense, and it's led them right now to go on a 9-game winning streak. They're 11-2. This is a great team with a great game plan. You're not changing because A.J. Brown is upset. It's an embarrassment of riches that you have a great run game and also some great receivers to throw the ball to in Brown and Devontae Smith. But here's where I think the Eagles' drama will cost them. I think in the offseason, you'll see A.J. Brown traded. Because if you're the Eagles, why would you have a receiver you're paying on average $32 million a year to, who's under contract through 2029? Why are you paying him that amount of money when you throw the ball the least amount in the NFL? The Eagles are not only dead last in terms of pass attempts this year, they have 39 fewer pass attempts than the second closest team to them, and that's the Packers. So the Eagles are not throwing the ball at all. Again, I just told you the A.J. Brown targets and receptions. He's well below what he should be in terms of average. The Eagles are not prioritizing the pass. They're not asking Jalen Hurts to throw the ball a lot, nor should they. They're a run-first team. They're having success. That's where I think we'll see. That's where I think this drama will come to a head. Not this season. A.J. Brown will get over it. He'll be fine. His frustration with not getting the ball, it's not going to draw the season. Where will they hurt the season, I think, or will hurt the Eagles, I guess, going forward, is I think you'll see A.J. Brown in the trade block. Trade him, get some pieces back, maybe some draft picks back, build this team up. But there's no reason in paying a receiver $32 million a year when you already have Devontae Smith as well there when you don't throw the ball at all. That's where I think we'll see this Eagles drama really have an impact on this team. 855-212-4227 is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. When we return, Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker, just join us. Will Bill's style translate to college football? Will he have success at North Carolina? Ted will tell us that answer next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. The huge news we've been breaking down all show so far is Bill Belichick venturing to college for the first time. He has accepted the North Carolina head coaching job. He'll be wearing baby blue now going forward. And we'll see him on the sidelines in Chapel Hill very, very shortly here. So we've discussed a lot about it. But let's get the perspective from someone who knows Bill pretty well. 10-year Patriots linebacker, won 3 Super Bowls under Bill Belichick. Also does a tremendous job analyzing him as well on NBC Sports Boston. That is Ted Johnson. Ted, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm well, Ryan. How you doing, buddy? Good to talk with you. It sounds like you're as fascinated by this story as I am. A lot of my colleagues up here in Boston aren't that enamored with this story, but I find it very, very interesting.
I'm with you. I am beyond fascinated. Ever since that news broke almost a week ago that he even interviewed for the job, I've been hoping it was going to come to fruition because I think this would just be so interesting to see. As someone who's played under Bill, Ted, I'm curious your thoughts because the big question everyone's been asking. Does Bill Belichick, a full-time NFL head coach, right? All of his experience has been on the NFL side. Does his style of coaching translate to college? From your experience playing under him, what would you say to that question?
Oh, I think it does. I think it does. Bill at his heart of hearts, he's a teacher, and he teaches the fundamentals of the game, and he really, he has a vast knowledge of the game, obviously, particularly from a defensive standpoint. But if he needs to keep things simple, so that everybody's on the same page, so kids can grasp the concepts, then he'll do that. So he loves to teach, and so that's really, I think, what is going on here, and is at the essence of him taking this job. Is he just at his age, he can't live without football. He doesn't know anything else. I mean, his dad Ryan was taking him into to work at Navy. When he's 8 years old, 9 years old, he's been watching film since that time. This is all he knows. So it's probably a big, scary world out there for him without football. And so I'm not as surprised by this at all. And I think he's going to surprise people as far as just how much enjoyment I think he's going to get out of it. There's a lot of moving parts, I think, to college football where there's not in the pro game, but just teaching kids, young men, I should say, the art of football. That's his wheelhouse, man.
Talking to Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker, did play under Bill, won 3 Super Bowls. It's interesting, Ted, because I feel like you do hear people kind of talk about a side of Bill Belichick that never really shows to the media that is personable. And it's funny because you talk about like college football. There's so much BS, and like I say that in a good way. I saw one tweet about like the Duke's Mayo Bowl, where the winner of that, gets mayo dumped on. I'm like, there's a lot of shenanigans, right, that college coaches have to kind of go through and deal with here. It is part of the job. From that, kind of lighthearted perspective, I guess, if you will, does Bill have, I guess, the personality kind of take on dealing with some of the stuff that you deal with in college that you would never deal with when it comes to professionals?
I think he can. I think Bill's capable of kind of morphing into whatever he needs to morph into. I think Bill's a survivor. I think he knows, how the game is played. I think if he needs to cater to a certain audience, the collegiate audience, the boosters, all the academic people there are very different. But he's from an academics world. I mean, he went to Wesleyan. He values himself a smart guy, and so. That world of academics is, his daughter is the lacrosse coach at Holy Cross. So he likes those institutions. He respects them. And so I think he will be able to, to blend in better than most people think. Now, I think he's going to have to broaden his staff. He was notorious for having a small staff here in New England. Part of that, I think, is paranoia. And part of it is he wanted to probably keep most of the pie when it came to paying out, the salaries. And so he got a lot of money to be the head coach of the Patriots, and he needed to add a small staff. I think if he's smart, and supposedly, I guess he had multiple people that I guess did research on the college game and the NIL money and how it works. And so he's been presented all these different kind of, trends, if you will, in college football. So he'll be up with those, but he's also got to realize he's going to need more help and a bigger staff. And he can't do his job at a high level, being, keeping his staff down low. He's going to have to delegate more than he's ever had. He's going to have to relinquish some control, and he's going to have a bigger staff, I think, to help him navigate this world, because it's very, very different. Obviously, right. This college world versus the pro. So, I'm fascinated to see all that, because he's reluctant to do, that with the Patriots, but college game, I'm curious how he builds up his staff and how he delegates. And, I'm curious I would love to read that 400-page document supposedly that he gave to UNC, presenting why he should be the head coach. I'd be fascinated to see that. But, I can't wait to see how this all plays out.
Same. We're talking to former Patriots linebacker Ted Johnson here on the JR Sport Brief Show. Ryan Hickey filling in. Ted, I think why a lot of people are surprised, right, that this is a reality, in part because I'm one in this camp as well. I assume Bill's ultimate goal, right, was to pass Don Shula and get the all-time wins record. Do you think this is a stepping stone? Do you think he's using UNC to try to prove to the NFL he still can coach? Or do you kind of expect him, this could be the last stop for Bill here? He is 72.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's the latter. I think he probably feels that ship has sailed with the NFL. Like, look, I mean, there were 7 coaching vacancies last year, or 6. He left, so there were 6, and only one interviewed him, and we saw how that went down in Atlanta. And my guess is he's got a good agent. I think his agent is Neil Cornrich. kind of checking on all the rocks and calling around and engaging what the interest is around the NFL. There's 3 openings now. There's going to be a lot more when the season's over. And it's probably getting the message that no one's really interested. So to me, Ryan, this was kind of a lot of people think, hey, was he using this as a ploy to, to get an NFL team to all of a sudden hire him? No, I think this was just something. He's like, again, I don't think he wants to just retire. I think real world, real life, not having, any football to coach, it terrifies him. And so I think it's really more about him just being happy, doing what he loves doing. If it can't be at the NFL level, and there's a lot of people here, Ryan, I'll be honest, that think this is embarrassing, that this is a bad look for him. And I'm like, I don't know. How many great actors of our time, when they get in their 70s, still get the big roles? I mean, heck, you can't do it at the same level the older you get. So to me, this isn't a bad exit into later life. To me, it's like, I kind of look at it this way. A lot of people crushed Brady for going to Tampa. How can you go to that losing organization? That is a losing franchise. They're irrelevant. And you know what? For a few years, Ryan, he made that place the place to be, relevant. And you see where Tampa Bay. Like, why can't it be the same for UNC? I know they have, they're not a very proud and historically, dominant football program. Right. But what if Bill can go there and make them one? What a story that would be, huh?
No, you're absolutely right about that. And we're talking to Ted Johnson here, 3-time Super Bowl winner, played under Bill Belichick. And kind of what you're just talking about, Ted, it is interesting because we were talking about it right before he came on the show of just like, when you look at it from like the legacy perspective, I know it's a little different because, again, all his success was in the NFL. Now you're going to kind of different game in college. I made the argument, Ted, that I think Bill has more to lose here than to gain, where I think the detractors will come out stronger if he, let's say, fails at UNC and goes 3-9, let's say, in 2 seasons and gets fired, versus if he's, able to win 8, 9, 10 games a year for the Tar Heels and have some success. How do you view it from that perspective? Do you think like Bill has more to gain from this or more to lose in this endeavor?
It's a good question. And my first instinct is to say, really, I think it can go either way. I can see your point of view where there's really nothing to gain here, but I don't know. I think if he goes in all, I don't know. I don't know what success looks like at UNC. You just said 8, 9, 10. Like, is it consistently, I don't know, winning the ACC and where, he's winning 9, 10 games a year and he's in the college football playoff. I think that could really, I just think his legacy has taken a hit ever since Brady left here. In the last 4 years in New England have been just awful. And I mean, it's just a spiral down. The Mac Jones thing was horrible. Just a bad look for Bill, and his legacy has taken a hit. I think in some ways, if he goes there and shows a different side of his personality, the players love him, they have success, I think he could bump his legacy up a little bit. But it can also, if he goes there and he's hard to deal with and he's grumpy and he treats the media the same and they're not winning and they're not getting what they thought they were when they hired him, then his legacy is gonna take another hit. But I could see it honestly going both ways, bud.
And last question before we're talking to Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker. The deal that he signed is reportedly a 3-year deal. So a very short term. Again, he's going to be 73 here soon. Yep. But you're right. Like, he is a football guy. Like you said, 9, 10 years old, he's going to practice with his dad. Like, this is all he knows. How long do you expect him to still coach? Like, do you expect him to get a second contract, or think maybe the 3 years up and that's it? He's done for good.
You know what? Like, I think he's gonna go until they tell him it's done. Until he can't go anymore. My guess is I could see him wanting to parlay this into something where he takes some job upstairs and his son takes the head coaching job and he still has a role in the football team in some degree. That, to me, that would be a perfect kind of ending. But I just think, honestly, Ryan, he just doesn't know. He just can't. He doesn't have enough going on in his personal life. He just doesn't. He just can't imagine what that would look like, retirement. So he needs football bad, and so he's going to coach as long as they'll let him. And my guess is the ideal situation will be, because his son Steve, he was the defensive coordinator there at Washington University this year, is going to come with him there to UNC. And the word is that part of maybe the job would entail if he was to accept the job at UNC, that his son Steve would kind of take over as the head coaching duties. I can't imagine UNC agreeing to that. I haven't heard any details being the case, but I could see Bill wanting to just be in football as long as he can, and particularly he can be a part of a team where his son is the head coach, like a lot of us are speculating. If all goes well there with Bill, that his son Steve will take over.
You would assume, Ted, right? The 13 podcasts he hosts, the 10 TV shows he does, the young girlfriend, that would be enough to keep him busy. But clearly he needs a lot more in his life. Ted Johnson does a great job covering the Patriots, playing for the Patriots. Ted, really do appreciate the time, man. This is a lot of fun.
Ryan, enjoyed it, buddy. You be good, man. Take care.
You as well. Ted Johnson, again, 10-year NFL linebacker for the Pats, 3-time Super Bowl winner. Now does a great job covering the team for NBC Sports Boston. Really interesting perspective there. We'll get into more of what Ted said on the other side, but I want to ask Marco this because, Marco, we were talking about this before the show started, and you were saying that you, from Belichick's perspective, don't get why he was doing. We just were talking with Ted. He basically said, like, he's a football junkie. He just got a coach, and this is for that.
Lifer,
right. What do you think about this from Bill's perspective? Is this I know you're down on. You want to explain why?
I'm almost depressed for him.
Really?
That this is where he winds up and this is where it ends. Because this is not where Bill Belichick should end his career. It should not be at North Carolina hoping to get to an ACC championship game and win 9 games and get it to a playoff and get your ass kicked. This is not where Belichick's career should end.
Can I ask you this? If you can recall, when Brady went to the Buccaneers, did you feel the same way?
No.
Like, this should not be how Tom's career is ending, going to a franchise that has been a loser franchise outside of...
No, because he could have, whatever he wound up going, he still had some football in him. He could still play. And depending on what the right situation was, I didn't think he'd win another Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I did. I didn't think he'd get there. But I thought he could finish out his career. It didn't go well, but like Aaron Rodgers. Should he have finished with the Pats? No, you have football to play, go play. It didn't work out with the Jets, but go play. That's fine. Belichick's 72. Mm-hmm. You won 6 titles. If you get another NFL head coaching job and to get another chance at that on a short-term type of thing, no problem. Whether it's the Falcons last year or Jacksonville this year, or he goes bookend home to the Giants and tries to win there, and if it fails, it fails. There's something to me about going to a non-prominent college program to try to make it respectable. Not to go there and be a national champion, because I don't think anyone expects him to win a national title there.
Right.
And to me, that's not the expectation for Belichick. He goes to Jacksonville, it's to get a Super Bowl. I don't think he gets there, but that's what it's for.
Right, but like he goes to the Giants, okay, it's to win a Super Bowl. He's not, with the jobs that are out there, he's not winning.
Why not?
Wherever he goes.
Probably, but we don't know that. We'd have to see what Belichick does.
So what's the difference between a bad NFL job and a college job?
To me, it's a step down that I feel bad for.
Down on the college game.
Look, he goes to Alabama, it's different. He goes to take a prominent school, back to prominent. Okay, I'm listening. He goes to whatever school you want to name in the SEC or the Big Ten, anytime big-time school.
So it's more North Carolina than it is
Carolina.
College.
They haven't won an ACC championship since 1980.
That's the reason why they're hiring him.
What? Lawrence Taylor was there the last time they won an ACC championship? Like, that's what he's trying to get to, and that's the bar. That's what I'm struggling with. You're go to a school that's known for basketball, and your bar is, can we be okay? That's not good enough for me. That's not where Belichick should end. The guy's too good for that.
He is too good for that. But if you're going to keep coaching, and maybe your best days of coaching are clearly behind you.
And that's the sad part for me, because I know he's a lifer. I know he has to do this. I know it's in his blood. I almost feel bad for the fact that no one will give him an opportunity, and it's either on the couch where I'm miserable or North Carolina to coach, and the hell with it, I'll go to North Carolina to coach. And to me, that's sad. That's sad, because there is no other opportunity for Belichick out there, and that's disturbing.
I would argue right. I mean, if I'm an NFL team, I'm not giving him full control.
I wouldn't either. But
I'm
that's
not
what
letting
I'm
him
saying.
draft. I'm not signing for agents.
No. Again, we're looking at things differently. We're looking at it in a different perspective. Would I hire Bill Belichick if I'm an NFL team? No, I wouldn't, because he's 72, and I'm not going down that road. Well, if I'm North Carolina, would I hire him? Of course I would. It's Bill Belichick. What happens? We're 5-7. Who cares?
Right.
A couple years.
5 or 2 years, and you start over.
And we start all over again, and we still haven't won an ACC championship since 1980. It's fine. Like, there's nothing bad about this. And if you're Belichick, and if you go, look, I just have to. It almost feels like Rocky and Rocky Balboa. Like, I just have to fight. I have to coach. I don't care who it is, where it is. I got to coach somewhere. This is the best job I could get. It's either here or I'm coaching in Division III high school in Texas.
I'd rather North Carolina than that.
And
that's for damn sure.
And that's why it almost feels sad. It's almost like I'm watching a boxer at the end of his career getting the crap kicked out of him because he just has to fight. That's what it feels like we're watching Belichick now. We're going to watch him in North Carolina where he's going to win some games. He'll win 7-8 games. He'll be there for an ACC championship or whatever. And we're also going to see him get his teeth kicked in by SMU. And it just feels wrong. It feels wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not going to enjoy Dabo Sweeney with a handshake and a smile after kicking Bill Belichick's ass in Clemson, North Carolina. It doesn't feel right. He's better than that. He's better than that.
Dabo's going to have some lines.
That's what I'm saying.
Boy, you want to run me out of town here. I just beat the guy who won 6 rings on his finger. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have him.
It does. Like, it almost feels like, again, like if you ever saw that movie, like Rocky was talking about fighting in like clubs to fight Spider Rico again. It's sad. At some point, you got to walk away. It's like watching Tyson with his ass out. It's sad. I don't want to see it. That's what we're watching with Belichick. That's what I don't like. I understand it from all sides. I'm looking at it big picture-wise. To me, it's sad.
I am intrigued. I'm excited to see what he's like on a sideline. I think he can have success, 8-9 wins. I think that'd be respectable for Bill at North Carolina. I think that's what he can achieve here. I'm definitely excited to see his demeanor. And you know what I'm rooting for, Marco? I am rooting for this time next year, North Carolina to be 8-4 and reach the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And North Carolina wins, and Bill Belichick is sitting there in a chair, as the tradition is, the winning coach gets a tub of mayo dumped on him. Give me that, Marco. Inject that into my veins. I need Bill Belichick with mayo on his head after winning the Mayo Bowl and then reacting to it. Give me that.
I have more respect for the man. I don't want to see him do that.
I want to see him eating Pop-Tarts in the Pop-Tart
Bowl. I don't want to see a 74-year-old Bill Belichick eating Pop-Tarts or getting mayo dumped on his head after winning 8 games.
For it. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Oh, come on.
It's Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Hour. When we return, you think Bill Belichick going to college is crazy. I got an even crazier college football story that we'll get to after this latest sports update from Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, football season is heating up. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code PRIMETIME, and get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it is lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. North Carolina has not won an ACC championship since 1980. Now they're turning to the NFL's greatest winner to get them to the promised land. Bill Belichick reportedly in agreement to be the new head coach at Chapel Hill on a 3-year deal at $30 million. First venture into college for the 72-year-old who won 6 Super Bowls in New England, 2 more as defense coordinator for the Giants. Red Sox have splashed at the winter meetings. They land Garrett Crochet from the White Sox in exchange for 4 prospects. 25-year-old lefty pitched to a 3.58 ERA in his first season as a starter in the Bigs. NBA Cup continuing quarterfinal action. You got the Knicks in front of the Hawks 28-22 as they approach the end of the first quarter. Mikal Bridges with 9 points to lead the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's got 5. Trae Young, the villain at Madison Square Garden, he's got 6 points for Atlanta. Meanwhile, after this is over, you got the Rockets and the Warriors. Golden State 4 rings in less than 10 years, but that does not mean that Steve Kerr doesn't take this NBA Cup seriously.
We packed to go to Vegas. Like we want to go, and we want to win the Cup. We're in the quarters. We're in a good spot. So our intent is to go after it.
Winner gets the Thunder in the semis. Raptors expected to be without Scotty Barnes for several weeks with a right ankle sprain. Missed 11 games earlier this season with a fractured bone in his face. Toronto struggled without him, just 2-9. College hoops, top of the hour. You got number 5 Kentucky facing Colgate. Hockey, it's the Rangers in front of the Sabres, 1-0. Ducks and Senators are scoreless. I'm Marco Belletti.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
JR wants to hear from you. Call him now at 855-212-4241. 4227.
So do I. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. I want to hear from you. 855-212-4227. Top of the hour. So 12 minutes from now. Don't go anywhere. It's a Wednesday, which means it's a top 6 list Wednesday. The top 6 list spurned, or I should say inspired by, that's a better way to phrase it, inspired by Juan Soto's $765 million contract he signed with the Mets. The top 6 priceless athletes in today's game. We'll give that to you 12 minutes from now. Don't go anywhere. We've been talking about all show. It is now officially official, as the UNC Tar Heels Twitter account just tweeted. Welcome to Chapel Hill. Bill Belichick, the 8-time Super Bowl champion, has officially been named our next football head coach. Hashtag go Heels. Hashtag Chapel Bill. Love that name. Chapel Hill, now Chapel Bill. That was a good one. Is now official. We also have learned that joining Bill and Chapel Hill will be Mike Lombardi. I'm sure you've heard his voice, seen his face on TV over recent years. A 30-year former NFL exec, won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, also worked for the Niners, Raiders, Browns. He will be joining Bill Belichick and be UNC's de facto GM. So Bill already putting together a staff. You heard Ted Johnson say, former Patriots linebacker, I agree with him that you'll expect to see Bill's son Steve leave Washington, where he was their defense coordinator. Actually did a good job last year for the Huskies, and be UNC's defensive coordinator. I'm sure probably assistant head coach as well. But now the staff is already starting to be put together. We'll keep you updated on any other additions that we do see here breaking as the show does go on. As a reminder, think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Most days, right, Bill Belichick taking a college job at North Carolina would be the craziest, most unbelievable story that came out of college football. Today, though, is not one of those days. For my money, that's the second craziest story coming out of college football. The craziest. We got to go to the courtroom here in the state of Ohio, where a state representative today introduced a bill that would make it a felony to plant a flag in the middle of Ohio Stadium. That is a real thing, a real piece of legislature that a state rep is trying to push through in the state of Ohio, to make it a felony to plant an opposing team's flag at the 50-yard line of Ohio Stadium. Obviously, this is coming after the whole Michigan flag planting situation happened after they beat Ohio State. Now, I looked it up just to be curious, like, what does this mean here? So this is a 5th-degree felony is what this state representative is trying to make here, which would equal 6 to 12 months in prison and a $2,500 fine. Imagine arresting and imprisoning college football players because they planted a flag at midfield after they beat Ohio State. At this point, I don't think this state rep didn't go, I don't think he went far enough. Forget making it a felony to plant the flag. How about you make it a felony just to beat Ohio State in their stadium? How about that? Then you take all the flag planting out of it. Make it a felony to beat Ohio State in Ohio Stadium. To where if Sharon Moore in 2 years goes back to the shoe and beats Ohio State again, put the man in cuffs. The game, the clock drops to 0. Boom, their officers are arresting him and taking him out in the back of a squad car. Make it just go all out. If you're going to propose this, really lean into it. Make it illegal, according to the state of Ohio, to beat Ohio State in Ohio Stadium. This lawmaker did not go far enough. Come on, let's lock up the coaches, lock up the players. Let's get serious here. Don't worry about flag planting. Take that out of the equation. Arrest players, arrest coaches for beating Ohio State. That is the answer. I'm sure Ryan Day would absolutely support that, especially if it's Michigan. As you can tell, hopefully, that is all sarcasm. And, because this is, like, I don't even blame Ohio State for this, in all seriousness. Like, I don't think it has nothing to do with them. I think what this is just a classic politician trying to get their 2 minutes of fame and benefit from someone else's, what we'll call drama. That's right. I'm not giving you his name. I don't want to give him the free. I think he's just in it to just get attention on himself. I'm not doing that. I did see some video of him. He was speaking to someone on camera on social media today. I'm not playing that for you. I don't want to give this guy any credibility or any love and attention because that's, I think, what this is about. He doesn't care about Ohio State. He doesn't care about actually trying to mitigate violence after the game like he's intending this to be. He's making it out to be himself. He's pandering to Ohio State fans right now who are upset that their team can't beat Michigan. And he's trying to make himself look good. Maybe it's to parlay that into running for the governor of Ohio, mayor of Columbus, whatever the hell he wants. But that's what this is just a game. This is just classic politician getting involved in sports. I hate it. It drives me crazy. Keep politics and sports separate. And that's what this is. I can't sit here and say that this is a soft look for Ohio State because I think they have nothing to do with it. This is just, I think, a politician trying to use sports to his advantage, nothing more. Cringy, that's what it is. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. When we return, it is a top 6 list. Wednesday, the top 6 list will be the top 6 most priceless athletes. We'll get that to you next. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
And welcome on into the JR Sport Brief show with Ryan Hickey filling in with it right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. It's been a busy Wednesday with you right here on the show. If you missed any part of it so far through the first 2 hours, make sure you check out the Hick At Nite podcast feed, Nite spelled N-I-T-E, available wherever you do get your podcasts. As you could imagine, a lot of Bill Belichick talk here through the first 2 hours of the show. In case you're just tuning in case you may have missed it, Bill Belichick is now officially the next head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. He's going to college for the first time ever. And from UNC's perspective, I think this is a great hire because there's really no downside. Like, what's the worst that happens? Bill wins 3 games, you fire him in 2 years, and you pick up the pieces and move on. Right? It's easier now in this era of the transfer portal and NIL. It's easier to rebound after some bad years more than ever. Right? Look at Indiana. They're in the playoff this year after never having any sort of any success previously. But you hire the right head coach and you could turn it around quickly. So I think from North Carolina's perspective here, the risk versus reward is low risk. I think insanely high reward. Bill thinks you fire me, move on. Okay. The reward is you get a lot of attention on your program, better recruits coming than you otherwise wouldn't have gotten, and maybe Bill's able to build a foundation to where the train keeps rolling even after he's done coaching and hangs it up. This has been a program that's basically been 500 since 2017. They have not won the ACC since 1980. They've had one 10-win season since 1998. This is not exactly a proud and historically great football program. I think the risk versus reward here is very high for North Carolina in a positive. From Bill's perspective, though, I think this is a high risk, low reward. I think there is something to gain, but I think there's far more to lose for Bill just because of how the New England era ended with some lean years. Right? Really, again, outside of the one playoff year with Mac Jones, ever since Tom Brady left after the 2019 year, it was pretty bad. It was really bad, actually. So that now, if you get off to another slow start, things are not looking well in North Carolina, and it's a continuation of what ended in New England. There's going to be a lot of detractors trying to knock down Bill and taking joy in his failures. I think he can succeed. If he wins 8 or 9 games, are people going to think differently of him? I just don't think so. Like, I think he's going to win about 8 or 9 games a year. That'd be my guess for what North Carolina does under Bill Belichick. Is 8 or 9 games moving the needle? Is that going to get people, to look at Bill any differently? No. So I don't think there's much to gain for Bill in going to North Carolina. I think there was a lot to lose. But with that said, I think because that's the case, I think you're going to see a motivated Bill Belichick. I think you're going to see an inspired Bill Belichick here to do the best he possibly can. So we'll continue to talk about Bill and his expectations in North Carolina, if he'll be able to connect to today's youth. As I also got a lot of storylines to break down here that we'll continue to do with you, as it is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. But it is a Wednesday, and it's 8 o'clock Eastern, which means it is a top 6 list time right here on the show. This week's topic, inspired by Juan Soto's $765 million deal with I'll speak for Jack here as well, our New York Mets. That massive deal. I want to kind of give you this. The top 6 most priceless athletes. The athletes where there is no amount of money you could possibly pay them where you ever turn around and say, hey, he's not worth it. That's too much. You overpaid. There are only very few athletes, I think, where any amount of money, no matter what the number is, you could say worth it. Let's tell you those 6. It is top 6 time.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to get JR's latest top 6 list, only on the JR Sport Brief.
All right, Ryan Hickey with you here, giving you top 6 most priceless athletes in sports today. This is not all time. This is right now, current day, 2024. Top 6 most priceless athletes. We start at
number 6.
Let's go to hockey. Connor McDavid. He is by far the best player in the NHL. And at 27 years old, I could never say there's an amount of money that would make me think that's a bad deal. He is worth every single cent and then some. Hell, they call him McJesus. Would you ever think a contract is too rich for someone nicknamed McJesus? I wouldn't. Certainly would not. The guy's a 3-time MVP. Look what he did last year in leading them to within 1 game of the cup. 1 game with bad defense, bad goaltending. 1 game within the cup. And what I think is huge for McDavid is he's not a guy that's a regular season darling and disappears in the playoffs. He is equally as good, if not better, come postseason time than he is in the regular season. He is an all-time great. I mean, he's trending towards right now passing Jaromir Jagr and most likely settling in second place all time in total points behind only, of course, the GOAT Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, if you're in that discussion and you're setting records like that and finishing just behind the great one, yeah, I feel pretty good about you being priceless here and no amount of money not being worth it here when it comes to McDavid. He absolutely is priceless. Let's take a listen to Chris Knobloch talk about McDavid's impact.
You think about the year that Connor had, 100 assists, leading our team, the performance he had in this playoff, especially in this final round when we're down 3-0, and then he comes out with 8 points in 2 games. He's our leader. He's our best player, and it's obviously everyone wanted to, win it for the team, and would like to obviously do it him, the captain of our team. But I can't say enough things about what he provides, the leadership and what he does on the ice.
That was obviously right after last year's close, gut-wrenching Stanley Cup final loss to the Panthers. But he's an insanely talented player. He delivers. He's well-rounded. And he's also a great leader as well as a captain. He checks all the boxes. He's priceless to me. There is no contract you can give him, no amount of money where anyone would ever say he's overpaid, too much, reach. There are not many athletes out there. McDavid is one of them when it comes to being priceless in today's world. He comes in on the top 6 most priceless athletes at number 6.
Number 5.
Let's go to the hardwood. Nikola Jokic. He, to me, is priceless. Guy has won 3 out of the last 4 MVPs. He not only plays great in the regular season, he is just as unstoppable in the postseason, and the entire offense runs through him as a center. This guy is their best shooter, their best passer, their best rebounder. He could score from anywhere on the court. He can pass from anywhere on the court. His vision is unmatched. He makes his teammates around him better. He lifts up the team. Like, he makes it look effortless, which I think does help as well. Like, he's just so... There's so many accolades you can give to Nikola Jokic when discussing how he plays. He truly is unguardable. He is outstanding. One-man wrecking crew. You should look at the Nuggets stats here in terms of his on-off. When he's on the court, they're great. When he's off, oh boy, it's ugly. And that, I think, is a testament to him. The reason, honestly, why Jokic is at 5 and not higher is really just only because of his age. Again, this is present day. It's not all time. This is right now. If you said these athletes all want a blank check, who are you giving it to? I'm still giving Jokic a blank check. To me, there's no amount of money you could say that's an overpay right now. And again, the reason why he's 5 and not higher is just because he's going to turn 30 in February. I still think he's got a lot of juice left in him. I don't think he's slowing down by any stretch of the imagination, but if he was, let's say, 26, 27, more in Luka's stage of his NBA career, hell, Jokic could be number one possibly. That's how good he is. That's how impactful he is. That's why, like, for me, like, he truly is priceless. If I was an NBA GM and I had the chance to get him, I would give him whatever amount of money possible. There would be no such thing for me when it comes to Jokic as an overpay. I'm sure Mike Malone agrees as well. Nuggets head coach. He talks about Jokic's impact.
Obviously, I love Nikola, and feel very fortunate to coach a player of his talent, and he'll go down as one of the best to ever do it.
He truly will. Like, he's like trending right now towards being a top 10 player of all time. He's that good, that dominant, and also that consistent. By the way, unlike Embiid, unlike Anthony Davis, other dominant big men, Jokic is out there. He's playing 80 games a season. He's never hurt. He's durable. So that also adds to it as well. Like, you're getting a bang for your buck because you're not only getting high-level play every single night, you're getting him on the court every single night. Top 6 most priceless athletes in sports today. Nikola Jokic comes in at 5. Connor McDavid comes in at 6. Let's go to the next number here.
Number 4.
That will be Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. He truly is priceless because he is the Bills. The Bills' entire success revolves around one man, and that's Josh Allen. Shouldn't be that way if you want to win a Super Bowl, but that right now, the reality in Buffalo. He's been playing this year like the best quarterback in the league. He right now is on track to win the MVP. He's been outstanding in terms of his production, despite losing a talented receiver in Stephon Diggs and not really getting many talented receivers in that building. He's not turned the ball over as well, just 5 interceptions. That's always been a big bugaboo about his game. He turns the ball over, puts it in harm's way. Not doing that at all this season. He's running well. He's throwing well, seeing the field well. I mean, just look at what we saw on Sunday. I mean, you can't ask a quarterback to do anything more than he did. 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. Some of those were dimes. I mean, he was dropping some of the bucket. It was just incredible to watch. No turnovers as well. The Bills lost that game, certainly not because of Josh Allen. He's playing like the best quarterback in the league, and I would say right now with how good he is and how important he is to the Bills, he's priceless. There's no deal, no amount of money you could say that's an overpay. Now with Josh Allen, that's for damn sure. Let's hear from Sean McDermott, his head coach, who praised Allen's development.
It's fun to watch young players develop, and there's a lot that goes into that. And number one is the player, in this case Josh, taking great ownership of his development, and his preparation this week is what led him to the results you guys saw tonight on the field.
That was in reference to Sunday's game, which he was outstanding, and if not for Sean McDermott, had a chance to win that game. But unfortunately, bad coach did not know some good clock management. Bills waste what was an absolute heroic, if you will, performance from Josh Allen. He is a priceless athlete on this top 6 list of priceless athletes in sports right now. Josh Allen comes in at number 4.
Number 3.
Let's go back to the hardwood. Victor Wembanyama. This guy, you talk about, look, he is priceless already, and essentially with that contract he's going to receive from the Spurs in a few years, it's going to be the biggest contract in NBA history. There's no doubt about it. And he's well deserving of it. Honestly, I'm not kidding. if there was no salary cap, right, and there's no, the guidelines on max contracts and super max contracts, and it was like baseball free agency. You could give any free agent any amount of money you want. I would give Victor Wembanyama $1 billion, and I think it'd be a great bargain. A great bargain. The dude's an alien. Like, he literally is an alien on the court with what he's able to do at his size. He can shoot from anywhere. He can block any shot. He can rebound. He can pass. He has great vision. And here's, I think, the best part about Wembanyama is the fact that he has the right mindset. He is somehow only 20 years old. But his maturity, he's like a seasoned vet. He's taking care of his body. He's, telling us about how at night he turns his phone off so he can get, 8 hours of sleep. He's doing everything like basically LeBron is doing to take care of his body to make sure he's at peak performance every single night. There are so few athletes that go through the painstaking process off the court, off the field, to make sure every night they are healthy and in a position to where they can play their absolute best. It's tough. All that treatment, all that rest, all that recovery. It's not fun and it's grueling. Wembanyama, though, does it at only 20. It's truly, truly, truly incredible what he's able to do and how mature he is already at just a young age. It is truly, truly incredible. Let's hear more about Victor Wembanyama's impact.
Is Wemby really that good, bro? I'm gonna keep watching his highlights. He's damn near.
Nah, he's cold, bro.
Yeah, he's damn near elite, bro.
Yeah, bro, he's different.
He damn near could be the best player ever.
You thought he was gonna fuck up in the league?
Nah.
You backtracking now?
I
like
didn't say
PG?
he was gonna mess up. I said he's gonna have more challenges.
He's the first number one pick in a couple years that we've really kind of been like super excited about. Not to say that because
Zion.
Yeah, but I'm saying since Zion, because like he didn't get that same type of push, but obviously he's a superstar now. But since Zion, yeah, him. But he's killing, and I think like you can see the signs.
But I seen him block somebody dunk and then got back into play and blocked another one. I was like, yeah,
the same play, bro. That was what Jabari, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm like,
and he's good.
I'm like, that motor a little different.
That was Jeff T talking about just the incredible impact of Victor Wembanyama. And he's right. Like I think also when it comes from a player and a player who knows a lot of players in the league, recently removed with Jeff Teague, like that's when you know it's real. I think it's easy for a lot of foreign players, right, to crap on the current age of players and no one was good as the players when I played, right? Kind of one of those things. But to hear that respect and praise of just like, oh no, this is the real deal. This guy is insanely hyped, but all the hype is actually worth it and he's living up to it. It is so, so, so rare to see. Wemby, though, is doing it. He comes in at number 3 in terms of most priceless athletes we have right now currently in sports.
Number 2.
Let's go to the baseball diamonds. Shohei Ohtani. I mean, hell, the Dodgers basically told you he's priceless by giving him a $700 million deal. And in year 1, did he live up to it? As a DH only, won the MVP, first time a DH has ever won an MVP. 50-50 season. He hits all fields, hits with power, doesn't strike out, has a great eye. As you saw on the base paths, he's a menace, stealing 50 bases. And next year, we expect him to go back of the mound and pitch. And for his career as a pitcher with the Angels, he has a 3.01 ERA. You can't put a price on that. There's no amount of money you could pay Shohei Ohtani and call it an overpay. It's impossible. He is worth every single penny he gets. If you double that contract to $1.4 billion he got from the Dodgers, I would still say it's worth it. That's how impactful he is. That's how good he is. It's so hard in baseball to have an impact as one player. Look at Mike Trout. Angels went to the playoffs one time despite him being the best player in baseball for a decade. It's so hard to do. Ohtani is one of the few players that can actually truly impact a game just by himself. He's incredible. Obviously, I don't think the Dodgers win the World Series without him. He is truly one of one. Let's hear Dave Roberts talk about Shohei's impact.
I'm thrilled. There's 6 years in the States, arguably the best player in the big leagues, and so he committed to us and he wanted to play for a championship, and so for it to kind of come to fruition in his first year is pretty remarkable. And what Shohei's done to our ball club, the Dodger fan base, domestically, globally, I just don't think you can quantify. And he's just such a good guy. he was playing with one arm in the postseason. And so most guys would probably tap out, but he was going to be not denied at playing and posting and being in the lineup. And so for him to, hoist that World Series trophy, that's something he dreamed of, I'm sure, for quite some time.
I'm sure he did with all those bad days of the Angels, man. I'm sure he was dreaming of it, and credit to him. He came through in his first postseason, was absolutely outstanding. So we're doing the top 6 list here of the most priceless athletes in sports right now in modern sports. Connor McDavid comes in at number 6. Nikola Jokic comes in at 5. Josh Allen comes in at number 4. 3 is Victor Wembanyama. 2, Shohei Ohtani. Who is the most priceless athlete right now in sports? I'll tell you when we return. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. But first, make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you could win 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, is available to play in more than 40 states, including California and Texas. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pixmas. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code JR and get $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. That, of course, is code JR on Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
JR wants to hear from you. Call him now at 855-212-4227.
It is Ryan Hickey in for JR here on this Wednesday. Appreciate you joining us. It is top 6 list time. This week's list is inspired by Juan Soto signing a $765 million deal. He's out with the New York Mets. And of course, to the shock of nobody, what did Yankee fans say automatically after the deal was done and he went cross town and left the Yankees to the Mets? He's not even that good. We didn't want him. Complete overpay. Imagine paying all that money to one player. Blah, 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 blah. Classic. Shocker. So that had me think, all right, fine. You want to make that argument for Juan Soto. Who are the players then in sports today where you could call priceless, where no matter what the contract looks like, no matter what they're getting in total, no matter what they're getting on a yearly basis, nobody would ever call it an overpay because they are worth it. I think there are very few athletes, really 6 only, I think can fall into that tag. That is the top 6 list for this week. We have given out the first 5 so far. At number 6, Connor McDavid, a.k.a. McJesus. Number 5, Nikola Jokic. NBA champ, 3-time MVP in the last 4 years. Doesn't even look like he cares about basketball. Still dominates basketball as well. He's durable. He comes in at 5. Josh Allen, dude-all quarterback, playing like the MVP of the year right now, or close to it, comes in at 4. 3 is Victor Wembanyama. 2, Shohei Ohtani. The most priceless athlete in sports right now. The man, where there truly is no limit to what he could make, where you would call it an overpay, comes in at number
1.
And it is Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs. I'm sure you probably saw that coming. If not, here's why. Number 1, quarterback, right, is the most important position, not just in football, in all sports. We put so much emphasis on winning and losing. There is so much pressure on the quarterback each and every game to come through that it is the most important, number 1. Number 2, all the guy does is win. 3 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl appearances in just 6 full seasons. How crazy is that? How scary is that? He's been in the Super Bowl every year except 2018, the first one, as a full-time starter when he lost to Tom Brady, and in 2021 when he lost to Joe Burrow. Otherwise, boom, in the Super Bowl every year, won 3 out of 4. It's not just the winning. It's not just the fact that he plays quarterback, which is the most important position in all sports. It's also the fact that he makes those around him better. The Chiefs a few years ago, right? Remember, they traded away, I would argue, a top 3 receiver at the time in Tyreek Hill. Traded him away to the Dolphins. Tyreek, we can't afford you. We're going to move on. Travis Kelce has fallen off right, for what he used to be. Yet, here the Chiefs are talking about, being the 2-time reigning back-to-back champions and going for a three-peat for the first time ever. That's in part because of Mahomes, because he's able to make those around him better. He's able to make Juju Smith-Schuster make important plays. And he's trusting somehow Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore in the Super Bowl to make a few plays to win it for him. He makes everyone around him better. So there's no amount of money that's too much for him. There's nothing where you could say that's an overpay. Patrick Mahomes right now is the most priceless athlete in all of sports. Just to reiterate the list, we'll go here in proper order, 1 through 6. Mahomes to me, most priceless at number 1. Number 2, Shohei Ohtani. 3, Victor Wembanyama. 4, Josh Allen. 5, Nikola Jokic. 6, Connor McDavid. If you think there's another priceless athlete where there's no such thing as an overpay, give him all the money he wants and then some, it's still a bargain. You're still getting your money's worth. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. You can also tweet me, Ryan_Hickey, and the number 3 here on social media. We're talking priceless athletes in all of sports. When we do return here on the show, we'll get your thoughts, and also when we return, Bill Belichick, right, kind of did the reverse of what we've seen from a lot of college football coaches do, and that's leave college to go to the NFL. We saw that most notably, most recently, with Jim Harbaugh, leaving Michigan after winning a national title to go back to the NFL. Well, Bill's done the opposite. He's going from the NFL to college. I think this could be somewhat of a trend. I'll explain why when we do return again. Ryan Hickey in for JR. Up, though, first of the latest sports update is Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
And Ryan was sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. It was an unusual courting, but Bill Belichick to North Carolina is reportedly done as the Tar Heels get their man. 72-year-old goes to the college game for the first time in his career on a 3-year deal. $30 million, now trying to bring home an ACC championship to Chapel Hill for the first time since 1980. Tar Heels adding a 6-time Super Bowl winner to lead their program, along with reportedly adding Michael Lombardi to be a GM. Red Sox reportedly adding a big lefty to their rotation. They get Garrett Crochet from the White Sox in exchange for 4 prospects. 25-year-old, highly sought after posting a 3.58 ERA in 32 starts for Chicago this past season. 209 strikeouts in 145 innings. NBA Cup, Knicks and Hawks for the right to face the Bucks in the semis. Knicks with a 54-47 advantage. They're at the break. 12 points for Josh Hart, leading the way for a balanced attack for New York. Karl-Anthony Towns got 10 points and 14 rebounds in the first half. Jalen Brunson with 8. Trae Young leading the way for Atlanta. He's got 10. Meanwhile, this one is followed by the Warriors and Rockets. Andrew Wiggins giving his thoughts on Golden State trying to add a different type of title.
It's new. It's new, and it's something that, guys want to win. It's another thing to, to try and compete for, to try and win, and to say you won the NBA Cup. It's a tournament. You get paid for it. You get paid even more if you win. A lot of things go into it. Who doesn't want to play in Vegas? It should be fun.
Raptors likely without Scotty Barnes for several weeks with a sprained ankle. College hoops, Kentucky in front of Colgate, 25-16 first half. Hockey, Rangers lead the Sabres 1-0. Senators in front of the Ducks, 3-0. I'm Marco Belletti.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. South of the equator.
JR wants to hear from you. Call him now at 855-212-4227.
It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. I got to tell you, Jack, my friends are sick. They are truly sick individuals. One of the fantasy leagues I'm in, we had this rule where if a player you start scores 0 or negative points, you have to chug a Smirnoff Ice.
Ugh.
Exactly right. Disgusting. And just adds insult to injury. You already have a bad. I mean, you're most likely going to lose a fantasy matchup if a player scores 0 points.
Right.
And you never really realize how often a player does actually not put up any points until the ices are on the line. Probably there's been at least 12 ices so far throughout the league this season. It's injuries. I mean, no performance. The guy that got me was Jaden Reed. Got me on the Packers last Thursday night against the Lions. I made it to week 13, not getting iced one time. Week 14 started with Jaden Reed, who scored 0 points, not get a catch, only got 1 target, no even rushing yards. A guy who ran the ball as well. So Saturday morning, I had to get up, go get the Smirnoff Ice, right by a deli by my apartment. 2 people, and this is crazy, 2 people in front of me, online checking out before I got my ice. First guy got busted trying to pay for a coffee and like a little donut with a counterfeit $50 bill. I've never seen someone actually get caught. Like you always see people check, right? They draw the line on the ink or look through, kind of look at through the light. I've never seen anyone ever, get caught using counterfeit money. It happened. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. What I was surprised about, they gave the money back. The cashier checked it, called someone else over. They checked it. Basically, this is no good. This is counterfeit. I thought they're going to rip it up, throw it out. Like, why would you have him be allowed to try this again? Gave right back to him. Guy kind of put his head down and walked right out.
Yeah, it's a little strange. You would think you would, same thing with like a phony credit card. They'd probably just take a pair of scissors, just cut it up and be like, oh, yeah, sorry, you're not your day today. Yeah, giving it back to him does nothing. There's no good for anybody because he's just going to do it again.
Right. And maybe not at your store, or maybe he'll come back when that main guy is not working. I don't know. But either way, you're allowing him to continue the ploy. Like, I thought they just take it. I used a fake ID once, and that got taken in college. And let's just say, they didn't give me the option to give it back.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that to you.
That was a goner. That is for sure. But then I think that's crazy. Crazier even than that was the guy right in front of me checking out next, who was buying at like 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning a Four Loko. He had to be like 40 years old, had some gray in the beard. I don't think anyone still drank Four Lokos to this day. Maybe like college or high school kids, if like that's kind of the audience that they target for anyway. But like a 40-year-old guy, 10 a.m. buying a Four Loko. He was like a few friends. They're clearly going somewhere. I should have asked where they're going because that seems like they're having a good time. If you're buying a Four Loko at 10 a.m., you're in for a wicked Saturday. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, college football, probably maybe when they watch that. I don't know if there's like a some kind of pregame thing going on. I think the last thing I want to buy is a Four Loko at 10 in the morning. But, yeah,
that does some damage to it. That does some real damage. That and a Zin. That head buzz must be just, when you finish that Loko, you got a Zin, and that must just be, you must be on Mars. Gotta be on Mars.
Yeah.
Imagine being on Mars at noon on a Saturday. Wow. What a life. What a life.
Hey. God bless.
Those are my neighbors. Gotta love it. Gotta love it there.
Wow, what an interesting turn of events. You get someone who has counterfeit money, and then you got a guy buying a Four Loko. Hey, listen. These guys are living the life.
That's it.
I guess.
That's what we call having yourself a Saturday. No doubt about it. Speaking of Saturdays, Bill will now be coaching on Saturdays. Bill Belichick, big news. In case you missed it, Bill Belichick is officially now introduced as the next head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. And what's interesting is because now Bill has ventured over and kind of done the reverse. We've seen a lot of college coaches go to the pros. But now this is kind of the first prominent NFL coach that is going to college football, at least recently in the new iteration of transfer portal, NIL, and everything else. I don't think this is an anomaly. I think we will see more NFL coaches flock to college. And here's why. What do coaches in general want? I would say they want control. What do most NFL jobs not provide? Control. Let me give you an example. Look at the 3 NFL jobs open right now. Jets, Saints, Bears. 2 out of the 3 have awful ownership in the Bears and the Jets. You're not having control. Woody Johnson's pulling the strings. That's part of the reason why no good coach comes to the Jets, because it's the Woody Johnson show. The Bears, you got the McCaskey family, you don't know what they're doing. You got Kevin Warren now as president. You got Ryan Poles as GM. They're having a power struggle to see who really is calling the shots and who's the big dog there. If you're the coach, you're like fourth on the totem pole. You're not getting your way. You don't have much control. That's part of the reason why, despite having Caleb Williams and a talented roster, it doesn't seem like many big-time head coaching candidates are interested right now in the Bears job. And you look at the jobs that could come open, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, even the Eagles. A great roster, but Howie Roseman's running that show. You're not getting any control. A lot of the jobs right now that are open and that continue to cycle open every 2 or 3 years, they're jobs where someone else is running the show, most likely ownership, and that owner is bad, which is why the jobs keep on coming open every 2 or 3 years. There's not many jobs right now in the NFL where the head coach has full control, or at least can work in tandem with the GM to where they're on the same page and those two are running the show. A lot of NFL jobs that are open are bad jobs because the good jobs hire good coaches. The Steelers, the 49ers, the Rams, a lot of those coaches have control because they have the trust and they work for good ownership. For the most part, good ownership does not make mistakes in hiring. And when they find the guy, they keep the guy. And they have constant success. So a lot of the good jobs in the NFL are never really open. Only really the bad jobs are. So if you're someone, I get in this case, Bill Belichick was not wanted by the NFL, right? They told him no, thank you, not the other way around. I get that. But if you're Mike Vrabel, let's say, right, who's I think going to be the hottest name now out there for an NFL coaching job, if you're looking at the Jets, if you're looking at the Jaguars, like, are you sure you want to go to those dumpster fires? Are you sure you want to go to that, ownership and say, yeah, I'll work for you? I mean, remember, he was fired basically in part because he refused to listen to ownership in Tennessee and disagreed with what they were trying to tell him to do. He had one vision that he thought was right. They had another, and they said, oh, you know what? Listen to us, Mike. He said, no, thank you. Okay, you're fired. He saw what it's like to work for ownership that wants to tell him what to do. Why would you want to go to a lot of these jobs where most of them, that's the case? If you really want to coach, now some coaches are better off than others of waiting. Bill Belichick clearly impatient. But if you want to coach, but you're selective in where you want to coach, and there's nothing open that you like, going to college now is not as bad as it used to be. It is a lot like the NFL game. And now, especially with revenue sharing coming to college football, there's less reliance on NIL, which means less fundraising. Money is more spread out and more equal. You have somewhat of a salary cap imposed as well. So it does mirror a lot of what the NFL game is. I think it's now more attractive for NFL head coaches to drop down to the college level than ever before. I think we'll see more coaches follow in the footsteps of Bill Belichick and find their way to college if an NFL job does not open that's appealing to them. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. It is Ryan Hickey right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Let's go to Brent, calling from Illinois. What up, Brent?
Oh, hello, Ryan. Doing a great job filling in for JR tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, I enjoy your top 6 list. I think if you mentioned Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I think Joe Burrow is up there as well. He's been to a Super Bowl, almost won it.
Mm-hmm.
He's been to another AFC championship. He's competitive with the Chiefs, and what a tough division that he's in. I know he's having the Bengals are not doing well this year, but his offense, it's just like Josh Allen. It's explosive, and he even almost beat the Chiefs this year. So I think Joe Burrow, highly paid player, he's really valuable to the Bengals and to the NFL.
No, you're right. That's fair, Brent. Part of it is just I appreciate the call. I got 6 spots. So, and what I wanted to try to make a conscious effort of including other sports as well, like McDavid, Wembanyama, I think are worthy of being in there. Shohei Ohtani, like it is tough. I think Burrow's in that category with Mahomes, with Josh Allen, where it truly is just one of those like, yeah, if you have a team that, you're starting tomorrow, who's your quarterback going to be? Joe Burrow's prep. He'd be my second pick. I would take him over Josh Allen slightly, but especially with what Josh Allen means to the Bills, I think right now that's what, at least for me, puts him at a more priceless level right now than even Joey Burr, as some of the kids like to say. Wisconsin's Voice does tweet at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. Come on, Hickey. Caitlin Clark from the Fever has transcended the WNBA. Don't just look at the dollar amount. Have to look at what she does for their sports. That one is, you're right. You're absolutely right. Wisconsin's Voice, whoever you may be, writing that in. Caitlin Clark is one. I just limited it to really the 4 major sports. I did not really include the WNBA. If I did, she would probably be number 1 because of what you said, where she means more for the entire sport, not just for her team. She did transcend the entire WNBA. She's brought more attention single-handedly than any other athlete or any other player or team did. She's been huge for the WNBA. There's no doubt about it. I think you're 100% right about that. That's fair. I just really limited to only the 4 major sports: NHL, NBA, MLB, and NFL for this top 6 priceless athletes list here. It is Ryan Hickey with right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll get more into Bill Belichick top of the hour. Will he succeed in North Carolina? Will it actually work now that he's the new head coach? We'll do that in about 10 minutes or so here on the show. One thing that really bothers me when you look at the upcoming NFL schedule for this weekend, I thought the NFL did a horrible job at scheduling when these games are being played. All right, we're in the home stretch. We're week 15. This is really where a lot of these games have massive playoff implications. And you have some great games on the schedule where you have Steelers, Eagles, Battle of Pennsylvania, 2 teams that are playing some really good football. You have Lions, Bills, a great game that everybody is excited to watch with 2 of the better teams in the league squaring off. The problem is you have both of those games on at the same time. Buffalo at Detroit, 4:25 Eastern on CBS. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia, 4:25 Eastern on Fox. You can't have both games of the week for CBS and Fox on at the same time. And it's selfishly for me, which sucks, being a Colts fan, they play the Broncos at 4:25 as well Eastern in a game that I'm very intrigued by with 2 young quarterbacks, and especially with Anthony Richardson starting to maybe show some signs of life since getting benched. Like, that does have, look, I don't think the Colts are making the playoffs, but the Colts right now are the first team out of the playoff race, and the Broncos right now are holding the 7th spot in the AFC. Like, that does have playoff ramifications. You look at 3 4:25 Eastern games: Colts at Broncos, Bills at Lions, Steelers at Eagles. They should not be on at the same time, especially when you look at, let me just read you really fast here, the 1 o'clock Eastern slate. You tell me what game jumps out to you that you're excited for in the early window here. Chiefs at Browns? No thanks. Bengals at Titans? Commanders at the Saints? The Ravens, okay. Who they got? Oh, the Giants and Tommy DeVito. No thank you. Dallas at Carolina, where the Panthers are actually a home favorite for the first time in almost 2 years. The Jets at the Jaguars. Yuck. And the Dolphins at the Texans. Honestly, probably Dolphins-Texans is the best matchup that jumps out to you. You're telling me you couldn't put Eagles-Steelers in that 1 o'clock window? We couldn't get any sort of balance here where Eagles-Steelers, 1 o'clock, Lions taking on the Bills at 4:25. But we couldn't break at least those 2 games that feature 4 of the best teams in the league. We couldn't break them up. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, from my perspective, at least, because also there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games on at 4:25 Eastern. 3 games in which I want to watch every playoff. And that's, I don't know about you, how you spend your Sundays. I don't really like watching Red Zone. Like, I have it on to obviously make sure I'm up to date with everything. But what I don't like personally about Red Zone is I find it hard to follow what's going on in the games. They obviously show you all the big plays, right? But you don't know what leads up to that play. And so, especially when I'm trying to think about, what to talk to you about on Sunday nights, I like to kind of get a feel for the game, and how I do this by watching the full game. So, I got Sunday ticket. You got the little quad box. You can have 4 games on at once. So I like to have that up. Have like a laptop off to the side with usually 1 game on it as well. Then I'll have another laptop. Usually my girlfriend's, I'll borrow this. She's nice enough to let me borrow most Sundays. And I'll have Red Zone there as well. So I'll have, 3 screens with 5 games going in Red Zone. I'm going to have, and my hands full here, especially with the worst part about the Sunday ticket, I should say, is that if it's like the big game on in your local market, you can't show it. So I don't know. I'm assuming both Fox and CBS are going to have the A broadcasters on, which could mean that, at least me here in New York City, on CBS could be Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. On Fox could be Buffalo, Detroit, which means I can't, I have to separate those, put them on two different screens. I might have like two other games. I don't have a spot for Red Zone. I'm screwed. And then, by the way, to add insult to injury, Monday Night Football is a doubleheader. Bears, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders. I hate the doubleheader. I like the standalone games. You can watch one game, dive into it, enjoy it. One's at 8 o'clock Eastern. One's at 8:30. Too late in the year for doubleheader. Please. This is too many games. Schedule it better, NFL. Schedule it better. When we return on the show, Bill Belichick is going to North Carolina. Will he have success? I'll tell you. Next, it's Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
And welcome on into the JR Sport Brief show with Ryan Hickey, filling in with you right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. It is a busy weekend. See, I'm so used to doing my Sunday show. My apologies here for you. And usually those weekends are busy when we're doing Hick At Nite, Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Free plug right there for the show. But it's been a busy Wednesday in college football. We've had a lot of coaching moves. It is just being now reported by Football Scoop that UNLV, who lost their head coach in Barry Odom, who agreed to become Purdue's next head coach, they're hiring Dan Mullen, take over the reins, and now run the UNLV program. So Dan Mullen, after a few years at ESPN, on the sidelines, seems to be returning to UNLV. We have West Virginia closing in on a deal to hire Rich Rod for a second go-around out there in Morgantown. And the big one, the big news of the day is that Bill Belichick is officially entering college football. He has agreed to become the next UNC head football coach. When you look at this from North Carolina's perspective, I think this is a great move. This is an absolute great move in hiring Bill Belichick because I want to take it to the other side really fast here. What's the downside? Like, what's the worst that happens in hiring Bill Belichick? He tanks, you win 2 or 3 games, and you fire him in 2 years. Okay. All right. If that's the worst that happens, where's the downside? Because we've seen in this day and age of college football with the transfer portal, with NIL, turnarounds are quicker than ever. So if Bill tanks, right, and you're sitting there with 2 seasons in a row of, 2-10 and 3-9, you can dig out of that hole faster than ever. Look at Indiana. Indiana's been a doormat for really the entirety of their football existence. They hire the right guy in Kirk Cincinnati, get a good schedule, boom, all of a sudden you turn around in 1 year, they're 11-1 and in the college football playoff. Going in the tank, having a coach fail is not as detrimental anymore in this new day and age of college football compared to what it used to be. So what's the risk if you're North Carolina? You're getting more attention on your program. You're probably getting better recruits than you otherwise would have in the past. And if Bill tanks, okay, you fire him in 2 or 3 years and you move on. There's no downside. This to me is a great move for North Carolina to get their program, I think, back on track here and get going. This is a program that's been stuck in the middle of the ACC for a while now. Since 2017, they've been 49-51. They've had just one 10-win season since 1998, and their last ACC championship, it came all the way back in 1980. So if you think this is a bad move from North Carolina's perspective, you think this is just a horrible hire and bringing a guy in Bill Belichick, who's had a lot of NFL success, not really the last few years, and has never coached in college, if you think this is a horrible idea, I'll counter with, since when is UNC a middle-of-the-road college football program? Since when are they above hiring the greatest coach in NFL history? How are they too good for Belichick? I don't think they are. This is, to me, a great hire in part because I just don't know where the downside is. Like, look at the positives they're going to get now from hiring Bill. They're going to get more attention. This is now a program kind of like Colorado, who I think will be must-watch next year. I'm in. I'll be watching. I'm intrigued, fascinated to see how Bill is as a college coach, how he's interacting with college kids, how the practices are going, how he's going to look in Carolina blue. I'm fascinated. I want to see what it looks like. So you're going to get more attention on your program, good or bad, no matter how Bill does than you otherwise previously would have if you're Carolina. You're also going to get better recruits. Like Bill's time in the NFL at the end, I think a lot of players started to tune him out. They stopped listening to what he had to say because they saw the results once Brady left and it not being very good, that they said, you know what, this guy's a has-been, whatever, I'm just going to not listen to him. It got ugly in the past. I think college kids are not tuning him out. I think they're going to be intrigued. I think they're going to be captivated by Bill, even though a lot of them, which is crazy to think, missed most of Bill's coaching career, right? 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, a lot of them were not around when Bill won the first 3 Super Bowls. A lot of them don't remember that. Just again, mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's a I'm old moment for sure.
It absolutely is. You're not wrong about that. But I think a lot of these kids still would look at Bill as this guy's won 6 rings. He's been an NFL head coach. He's been a successful one. He knows what it's going to take to get me to the league. So I think you're going to see recruits, good recruits, now want to play for Bill, to have him, help him be that springboard to get them from college to the NFL. There's no coach that could go around in the country right now that could say, look, I know what it takes to get to the NFL more than anyone else. No one's going and putting 6 rings on the table like Bill can to a high school kid or a transfer portal player and say, you want to get to the NFL? I could do it. I mean, think about it, right? If you were a high school kid, if you were maybe a player in the transfer portal looking for somewhere else to go to get you to where you want to go, which is the NFL, there's no one else you could look at in all of college football that has the NFL experience, that knows what it takes more than Bill Belichick. So he's got the experience. I think he's going to get the recruits. He's bringing the attention, and he's going to be motivated. I want to play this from Jason Staples, who covers Carolina for Inside Carolina. He dropped this little nugget on the JR SportBrief show just yesterday, and he shined a light as to Bill's interest in the job. Take a listen.
As I understand it, Belichick actually reached out to North Carolina and said, hey, I'm interested. Would you like to talk? And, well, I mean, if you're North Carolina in that situation, and one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game gives you a holler and says, I'm interested, you at least hear him out. And so there's a video conversation and with him and several of the power brokers as making these decisions. And, it's Bill Belichick. He kind of blew him away in that interview, and they realized that he was actually serious.
So now you're getting, also, if you're Carolina, a motivated Bill Belichick who's going to come in there trying to win. He's not just collecting a check, wanting to be seen. I don't think he's even using this as a springboard. I think Carolina's his last stop. I think he's going to try to win with the Tar Heels and win big here. So you're getting a guy who's motivated. You're getting a guy with a ton of NFL experience who I think can recruit better talent than you've already gotten before. He's going to bring a lot of attention, which I think should bring thus a lot of money to your program. Add it up. Where is this a bad thing for North Carolina? I don't think so at all. I think this is a great hire. An absolute great hire for the Tar Heels. Now, when you look at what success, let's define success really fast here. What would be success for Bill Belichick in North Carolina? I think it's winning 8 or 9 games. I think he's absolutely capable of getting North Carolina to go 8-4, 9-3 every single year. I get that's essentially what Mac Brown did, maybe not as consistently, but that's right around where the program was when they decided to not bring him back for 2025. But I think if you're Bill, or if you're Carolina, then you can expect 8 to 9 wins. I think you signed a 3-year, $30 million deal. So let's say in the 3 years that he's there, I think one of the 3 years you can expect to go maybe 10-2, get a break with the schedule, find yourself in the ACC title game, and at that point, you're 60 minutes away from being in the College Football Playoff. I think that's what you can expect with Bill now as your head coach. And with those expectations, with what he brings, the attention you're getting, This is, to me, a massive slam dunk, a big-time home run for Carolina, and a no-brainer. This is a great, great hire by the Tar Heels. 855-212-4227. I want to hear your thoughts, though. Do you think this is a good move? Do you think Bill Belichick will have success? He's never coached in college. The last 4 years we saw in New England go pretty south. It was pretty ugly. Do you think Bill will be a successful college football head coach? 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. You can also tweet me, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. You can also check us out on the Infinity Sports Network YouTube page. We are streaming the show live, so you can watch the show, comment on the show right there on our Infinity Sports Network YouTube page. Plenty of ways to get involved in the show here. Do you think Bill will be a successful college football head coach? I do. And I'm telling you, I am very intrigued. Very, very, very intrigued for this move here as Bill now becomes the next North Carolina head football coach. Again, what's interesting is we just told you before at the top of the hour that Dan Mullen now is going to be UNLV's head coach. I'm shocked by this. Just because I thought Dan Mullen was having so much fun on TV that I don't think he would want to go back to coaching. I mean, it seemed like he was enjoying breaking down games. He was calling games for ESPN. I think he liked criticizing other coaches and not being in the spotlight. You know, he liked criticizing, or should say doing the criticizing, not the one getting criticized. I thought he liked that job and that role. There was reports, did he like recruiting, to go all out in recruiting the kids? Kirby Smart would say otherwise. When it comes to Dan Mullen's, let's say, tenure at Florida, it's a lot of work. But now Dan Mullen, again, according to Football Scoop, jumping right back in the game as he is replacing Barry Odom as UNLV's head coach after Odom left to go take the job here at Purdue. So we got a lot of coaching news right now going on in college football. To still break down with you at 855-212-4227. We also told you that Rich Rod, who says you can't go home? Who says you can't reconcile hard feelings after an ugly exit after the 07 season in which Rich Rod was going to get fired, then he kind of resigned. It was a lot of back and forth here. He is going back after most recently coaching at Jacksonville State. According to Pete Thamel, amongst others, Rich Rodriguez, there's momentum, and it seems, a deal is right now in the works of getting finalized to bring Rich Rod back home to Morgantown. We got a lot of, what a crazy Wednesday it's been. We still got a lot more this week to go, by the way. A lot of college football head coaching news here to keep you preoccupied. 855-212-4227. Let's go to Mike calling from Wisconsin. What up, Mike?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. So I think Bill Belichick going to North Carolina is awesome. I'm not a North Carolina fan, but I think a lot of players, a lot of high school players themselves are going to gravitate towards North Carolina now because of Bill Belichick, 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach. And then I also got another question. Hey, what's the word on Devontae Adams? And there's been talk, I've been seeing on Facebook about him wanting to go to Green Bay. Did you hear anything about that? Do you know anything about that?
I have not, Mike. I would say this, and I appreciate the call. I would stay off of Facebook when it comes to news. I think it's very easy to get fooled. I think it's very easy to spread misinformation. I would not use Facebook as maybe a trustworthy source of news that is credible. So, no, I've not heard anything about Devontae wanting to go back to Green Bay. He's under contract still with the Jets, and we'll see how that kind of tenure ends. I think also maybe part of his future will determine on the future of Aaron Rodgers. But Devontae Adams, back to Green Bay. At least from what I've seen, I've not seen anything about that, at least here at the moment. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Do you think Bill Belichick will succeed at North Carolina to be their next head coach? Ben is calling from Maryland. What's up, Ben?
Hey, just to let you know, I think there are a lot of, I think he's doing fine. A lot of kids, younger people, they know his name, and also the school, it's going to bring great donors, and they'll be coming out the woodwork for that guy. And also, too, there's also the benefit of living in Piedmont Triad, which is now the research capital of the area. I used to go to UNC Hillel meetings when I was Hillel person over at Guilford College, Greensboro, North Carolina, so I know the area. It's a beautiful
Really?
area. A lot.
Interesting.
It's a great area. So it's pretty wealthy. So he's gonna be fine. It's a smart decision. 100%.
I hear you, Ben. I appreciate the call. I'm not sure how much. Like, I don't know. I don't know, Bill. I'm not gonna pretend no, Bill. I'm just gonna assume here. I don't know how much the Chapel Hill town and the surrounding area around it impacted Bill's decision, just because that's a guy that seems like he's 24/7, 365 locked in on football. So I don't know how much time he'll spend gallivanting around town outside of, being seen on Nantucket here and there. I don't recall anyone running into Bill in the greater New England area on a random Wednesday, Bill enjoying the town. He does not seem like the kind of guy that cares that much about the town. He seems like he cares about football and football only. But still, hey, look, maybe his girlfriend will enjoy it, right? I'm assuming she's going to move down to North Carolina. I mean, I don't know how much she sees Bill anyway now, but I got to assume, right? Like the little time you can be able to get with your boyfriend and maybe also being closer to a college campus, aka being closer to kids her age, maybe that's something that she would like. So maybe Bill doesn't care. Maybe his girlfriend cares. And maybe, Bill's a good boyfriend and actually cares about what his girlfriend thinks, right? That's the way it should be in a relationship. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Ben. That's why Bill chose Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Not for the coaching job. He chose it because of the town. Not for him, but because of his lady friend. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR here on this Wednesday. When we return, we'll continue to get your thoughts here. Do you think Bill will be a successful head coach at North Carolina? Yes or no? 855-212-4227. And also when we come back here, I think this move's a smart one by the Tar Heels, right? What about from Bill Belichick's perspective? Does he have anything to gain by now coaching Carolina? We'll discuss when we do return right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
JR wants to hear from you. Call him now at 855-212-4227.
It is Ryan Hickey with you right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the JR Sport Brief Show. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. The big news we are reacting to, talking about here, is Bill Belichick becoming the next North Carolina head football coach. Going from the NFL, where he's won 6 Super Bowls, right, reigned over the Patriots dynasty, now going to a mid-level ACC program, taking over for Mac Brown. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I think this is a great hire by UNC. I don't think there's really much of a downside. If Bill flames out, okay, well, you pick up the pieces, you fire him, and you move on, you hire someone else, and you hope a quick turnaround is possible. There's really no downside to it. The upside is you get more attention. Bill's coming in motivated, and hell, he could win. Now, I think winning's going to look like in the span of 8 to 9 games. I don't think we're going to be talking about national title contention. Could they be? I think they can make the playoff. Like, I think they could win the ACC one year, which would get them in the playoff. I don't think they'll ever be on the same level as Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Oregon. Like, I don't think we'll ever be talking about the Tar Heels in national championship contention, like in that conversation. But could they, be in the mix for an ACC title? Can they make it to Charlotte once or twice? Absolutely. Absolutely. So 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. I want to ask you, do you think Bill Belichick will have success as Carolina's next head coach? As a reminder, this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. That is wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Well, I think this is a really good move for Carolina. From Bill Belichick's perspective, I don't think there's much for him to gain here. Like, if my prediction is correct, let's say, right, and Carolina wins 8 or 9 games a year, maybe they get to the ACC title game one year, hell, maybe they win the ACC one year. Great year. Great year, great accomplishment. Is that improving his legacy, though? Like at this point, is his legacy going to be helped at all, or can it only be hurt? Like I think at this point it can only be hurt. With what we saw the last few years in New England and the kind of the backslide that they had, unless he wins a national championship or is truly in the national championship conversation, I don't think anything Bill accomplishes at UNC is going to move the needle in a good way towards improving his legacy. I think he really only has something to lose here. Like if he goes 3-9 and 2-10, if that program is just fumbling around and nothing's really going right, I don't see that legacy improving. I don't see many people just brushing it off like we had a caller before talk about, how no one talks about Michael Jordan's years in the Wizards, right? They're just kind of forgotten about. I don't think people are forgetting about Bill Belichick if he flames out of Carolina. I think a lot of people will talk about, well, yeah, Bill was great when he had Tom Brady. And when he didn't have Tom Brady, well, you saw the bottom kind of fall in New England. Then he went to Carolina, and that was a disaster. I don't think he has much to gain here. I don't. I think this is more of a lose. I think he has more to lose than he has to gain. That's what I'll say for Bill Belichick. So it is a risk for sure. But I think in part that risk can actually, if you're a Carolina fan, at least get you excited because he is, he can't just mail it in. He can't mail it in the way Al Michaels mails it in calling a game. Not that Michaels, let's say, per se, gets away with it. He still gets criticized, but it's pretty obvious, right? Like, Al is just cashing a check at this point for Amazon. Doesn't seem to really care. Now, it's all said and done. When we look back in his career, will people remember the Amazon days? Probably not. I do, though, think that people will remember these Carolina days if things go south. So 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. Do you think Bill Belichick will have success? Before I get your thoughts, I do want to read a statement Bill put out courtesy of North Carolina, where he said, quote, I am excited for the opportunity at UNC Chapel Hill. I grew up around college football with my dad and treasured those times. I have always wanted to coach in college, and now I look forward to building the football program in Chapel Hill, end quote. That, again, is from Bill Belichick on becoming the next head coach at UNC. I don't really believe what he said, to be honest with you. I have always wanted to coach in college. I don't believe that. He's in college because no one in the NFL wanted him. If there's an NFL team willing to hire Bill, he'd be in the NFL. He would not have interviewed for UNC. He would not be taking the job. He'd not be wearing Carolina blue. He would be in the NFL. That's where it's like, all right, Bill, relax. Don't BS us. You could take the job and not have it, let's say, be a dream from day number one. That is more than okay. More than okay. 855-212-4227. Let's go to Sam calling from Alabama. What's up, Sam?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I love the show.
Oh, thank you.
Just real quick. So I think it's actually hilarious that Saban just retires, and then here comes Bill. The guy who pretty much taught Saban. So, of course, if he calls your program, you listen. And you probably shut down your interviews and just say, okay, so what do you want? This is Bill Belichick. As far as his legacy, I think if he's in the conversation, he doesn't necessarily have to win. But, he can go from being – I think he needs, as far as his legacy, I think he needs to get from under that without Tom Brady type of thing, even though that's in the NFL and this is college.
Right.
So,
do you think, though, Sam, like 8 or 9 wins can help prove that? Because I don't.
It's kind of a championship or bust for that, in my opinion. But at least it'll this is a win for North Carolina.
Oh, it is. Oh, absolutely is.
Yeah, but it's kind of it could hurt his. I don't think it could hurt his legacy, but it could make it better. I just don't think it could get any worse than how he left the NFL.
I appreciate the call, Sam, and that's like I'm going to cut you off. My apologies there. But I would agree in the sense of like when you talk about like improving your legacy, right, and you want to get out of that Tom Brady shadow. Tom Brady proved, right, in going to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl, he could win without Bill. And I think Bill, whether he wants to admit it or not, in this time in New England was trying to prove he could win without Tom. Obviously, it did not work. Maybe that's part of the motivation here. and going to college and still wanting to coach because he feels like he has to prove that, he can win without Tom Brady. And outside of winning a championship, outside of maybe getting to the Final Four in the college football playoff, I just don't know how, I don't think winning 8 or 9 games in the ACC and winning the Duke's Mayo Bowl is going to prove that you can win without Tom Brady. I think it is one of those, you got to win a championship. And that's where I don't see UNC winning a championship with Bill Belichick, which goes back to the point I made of just, I think this is more of a situation that's losing for Bill than winning. I think that he's has a chance to hurt his legacy more than help it. There's more to lose than to gain here for Bill and going to North Carolina. It is a gigantic risk for his legacy. Because people do like, poking fun at Bill, do like seeing him fail with whether it's all the winning he did or whether it's his personality being all bristly with the media. And with really just the public in general. He doesn't have many fans. And that's why I think if he goes 3-9 or 2-10 or 4-8, a lot of people are going to hear that or remind him of it and remember it. No one's going to forget it like they forgot the Jordan years. 855-212-4227. Let's go down to Texas. Dan is calling. What's up, Dan?
Hi, Ryan.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, bud. You put a great option A out there. I've been listening for about 15 minutes. Just got off work.
Nice.
About Bill, this is going to be so good. But what about option B? He's going to be playing second fiddle to the Tar Heels. And I don't know.
Like you're talking about basketball?
Yeah, in that area, right? I mean, the Tar Heels are going to dominate the news cycle in that region, to me.
Right.
And I lived in Dallas and everything was Cowboys. Didn't matter what the Rangers did or Mavericks. I mean, and Bill, isn't he accustomed to winning championships at the highest level? I don't see him playing second fiddle to anybody, to me.
Wait. He's with UNC, right?
Pardon me?
He's with UNC.
Right. That's what I mean. But the Tar Heels are going to dominate that area's.
When you say the Tar Heels, are you talking about the program overall, all sports, or just basketball? Are you talking about just basketball?
I'm sorry. Yep, I'm sorry. This is new to me. Yeah, it's basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem, 100%. Dan. No problem at all.
Yeah.
See, I think he brings intrigue, and I appreciate the call, Dan. I know Carolina's historically been a basketball school. I think he brings intrigue. I think kind of like what we saw with Indiana, let's say, right? Indiana, traditional basketball school. Kirk Cignetti comes there. Now, he was not as well known as Bill Belichick, but he got notoriety because he was very outspoken. In his first introduction to students at halftime of an Indiana game, he's out there saying Purdue sucks, Ohio State sucks, Michigan sucks. We're coming after all of them. And he won fans over with how he spoke. And that's what made Indiana football relevant at a basketball school where they're selling out their stadium consistently. It's never happened before. With Bill, he's not going to be outlandish, right? He's not going to go there and make declarations and say NC State sucks and Clemson sucks and we're going to win here and win that. But his body work, his resume, absolutely brings intrigue to where I think, while yes, it is a basketball school, I think there's going to be a lot of interest for UNC football this year, just like Colorado football. There's a lot of interest with Deion Sanders there over the last 2 years. We have shown, right, as a sports watching public, we like intrigue. We go where there's interesting storylines. Nobody before Deion got to Colorado was ever watching Colorado football. Now we are. No one was ever talking about Indiana football before Kirk Cignetti got there. Now we're about to watch him in a playoff game here in South Bend next week. I think the same impact can be had by Bill at North Carolina, where all of a sudden, a traditional basketball school, for how long Bill's there, maybe until at least the aura rubs off, things don't go well. I think we'll be talking about UNC football a lot more and a lot differently compared to how we were beforehand. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. Before we get back to your thoughts here, we do have also coming up this day in sports history as well. I want to give you the UNC schedule. What is Bill going to be facing next season as Tar Heels head coach? Ironically enough, he is opening his game the same way Deion opened his Colorado tenure against TCU. Now, this time it's at home at Chapel Hill. North Carolina hosts TCU. Their second game is at Charlotte. That'll be, I'm sure, a culture shock for Bill going to, I think it's a 15,000-seat stadium. That'll probably be sold out for that game, I would imagine. But still, nonetheless, I'm sure a lot smaller of a venue than he's accustomed to. Richmond comes to town week number 3. You're on the road at UCF. Remember, Scott Frost is back for a second term. So he's there. That bounce house should be bouncing for sure. And then these are all TBD. All of the ACC games have yet to be announced dates yet, but here we know the opponents that they're playing. Clemson, Duke, Stanford, Virginia, Cal, NC State, Syracuse, Wake Forest. So if you live in one of those areas, you want to see the GOAT Bill Belichick come to your area. If you live in Wake Forest, if you live in Syracuse, go to the Carrier Dome. At NC State, a rivalry game. Really, we saw the whole flag planting happen there at Chapel Hill. And we saw a little fight. So that game should be very testy and interesting to see how that in-state rivalry goes. Nice little cross-country flight here for Bill as well, going to Cal next year as well. So an interesting ACC slate. That Dabo Bill meeting will be must-watch for sure. That one's, I think, the big one here. Circle on the schedule. Dexter Henry is here with us. Dex, no Pitt on the schedule, huh?
Yeah, no Pitt on the schedule for me.
Bill scared? Scared of the Panthers?
He's scared to come to the Berg.
Wow. Sad.
So you like this move?
I do. I think for UNC, I just don't know what's the downside. If he sucks, all right, you fire him in 2 years. And we've seen, you can turn around a program with NIL and the transfer portal quicker than ever before. Look at Indiana.
Do you think, because you're a big college football guy, do you think guys will want to play for him?
Yes.
You think so?
Absolutely. Because college kids, for the most part, right, they're motivated by money and winning championships. They want to go to the league.
Yeah, that's the point. So that's the thing I think with him. He's a guy who could sell you on that. I'll get you to the league, kind of like Calipari in basketball, right? In a way, if you look at it that way.
Absolutely.
Now, does he have the stomach to do it at 72 and do it with the effort that's required? That might be my question, but. I think you're right. I think kids will want to play for him.
What's interesting, because I thought the same thing too, Deion Sanders has proved me wrong a little bit because he's not traveling. He's not going to home visits. I think they said it's like he's visited 4 or 5 homes in his 2 years at Colorado. For the most part, either they come to him or he's recruiting virtually, whatever. Like he's not really traveling as much as college coaches, let's say, used to. Obviously, the transfer portal is there as well, so it's a little bit easier maybe to have players come visit you. I don't want to say the grind is easier because, again, we saw Nick Saban walk away.
Right.
But it does seem like if you don't want to do at least the travel part of it, it is a little easier on the schedule to have maybe kids come to you and sell them versus you traveling all over to get them to come to your school. Which maybe makes it a little more appeasing for a 72-year-old, soon to be 73, to coach again.
Yeah, it's a good point. And if he doesn't have to do the recruiting, the heavy lifting of the recruiting, for say, some guys will delegate that to other guys in their staff. Yeah, could really work.
We'll see. It does seem like from the little information we have that he's like basically going to have a recruiting staff. And so I'm sure maybe he's the closer, right? Hey, look, whether it's a big-time recruit or the last, that we've talked and visited a bunch, here's Bill coming in, as the final move. Maybe that's more what he's like as kind of the closer and the finisher versus before, right? You're out there scouting. You're out there, 1 visit, 2 visit, 3 visits, 4 visits. Like, see all these coaches all over. Maybe Bill's more the closer. It's going to be interesting on the setup and how successful that is. But I think definitely because, again, no one else is going to a kid's house or even going into Bill's. No one else is going to a head coach's office in college football, seeing 6 rings lined on the table with all his NFL experience, saying, look, I know what it takes. I can get you there. I think
it's a great selling point.
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of kids are going to be intrigued by that. And if you're Carolina, you probably get, even though you had, Drake May, a first-round pick, Mitch Trubisky, a first-round pick. Other than that, there's not been a lot of, I think, selling points to go to Carolina. I think now you got one.
Yeah, it's been a while. You going back before, I'm thinking Julius Peppers we're talking about? We're going a little bit of a ways back.
Very long.
I'm intrigued to see how quickly you can have them competitive in the ACC. Do you think there'll be juice around them like Colorado? Because I love that you mentioned that. I think it's an interesting comparison.
I don't not to the same level because Deion is a salesman and he drummed it up himself and played it perfectly. He just does that
himself, right?
Bill is not bringing a camera crew into the first team meeting, basically saying, all you scrubs, get in the portal. You suck. I'm bringing my own luggage. It's Louis. Get the hell out of here. He's not doing that.
That's not his game. Yeah.
But compared to Carolina football, really at any point, I don't know. I mean, the last one, the ACC in 1980. I couldn't even tell you the last time that we were talking about UNC in a real light. They made the ACC title game within the last decade, like 2015, 2016, I think it was, but they were not, that was a different team that kind of stuck in there, taking on a dynamic Clemson team. There will be a lot of intrigue, more than maybe ever before at UNC. That's for sure. Not to the level of Colorado where they were like the talk of the town. Everyone is talking about them, but they'll be talked about.
I think it's good. It's good for college football.
I agree. I agree.
Good. It's good to see new. That was the point you were making when I walked in here. It's good to see new programs sort of come that have good storylines. That was the point you was making. I was like, yeah.
Right. I think part of it is like in the old system, you had Bama, you had Georgia, you had Ohio State, you had, 5 programs that mattered that were competing. Now you look around, there's a lot of intrigue across all of college football at teams at the top, in the middle, and even sometimes the bottom. I'm with you. I think it's great. It's great. And maybe we'll see sooner rather than later. You could be on the sidelines at Pitt. And there's Bill walking by. They're pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Or maybe we get a North Carolina Penn State playoff matchup.
Oh, sign me up.
You know who I'm rooting for in that one.
Who you be?
Come on, man. I'm staying with the ACC.
I was going to say. As a Pitt guy, I can't see you rooting for the in-state rival there in Penn State.
No.
At least on the record.
No, on the record.
On the record. You would never say it.
On the record, I would never say it. We'll keep some things I said off the record. We'll keep that off the record.
We'll keep that private. We won't out you and get you in trouble with some other Pitt fans here as well. It is Ryan Hickey in for JR right here on the JR SportBrief Show. When we return, we'll get your thoughts on Bill's potential success at UNC. We also have a few things that happened this day in sports history. We'll do that after we get the latest sports update from Dexter Henry.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Ryan, this one's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. We're going to kick this one off with what we were just talking about, major news from the world of college football. 8-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick, he's returning to the sidelines, but not in the NFL. Belichick is now the new coach at the University of North Carolina. This is the first time Belichick will coach the college game as he's signing a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Tar Heels. The head coach will look to bring an ACC championship, as Hickey said, to Chapel Hill for the first time since 1980. Former West Virginia coach Rich Rodriguez, he's finalizing a deal to return to Morgantown. The 61-year-old head coach spent 7 seasons at WVU. That included 3 straight 10-win campaigns and a Sugar Bowl win back in 2006 over Georgia. We go to the hardwood. NBA Cup quarterfinals continue tonight. Hawks versus Knicks at the Garden. And Trae Young, he played the role of villain at MSG, scoring a game-high 22 points. He also dished out 11 assists as the Hawks recorded their 4th consecutive road win, 7th win in their last 8 games. They knock off the Knickerbockers 108-100. They will play the Bucks in the semis. The second quarterfinal matchup of the night set to tip off. Warriors visit the Rockets. The Warriors have won the first 2 meetings between the 2 teams this season. Winner of this match, they will face the Thunder in the semifinals. And in baseball, had a trade today. The Boston Red Sox, they acquired left-hander Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox. Catcher Kyle Teal, outfielder Brandon Montgomery, infielder Chase Meredith, right-hander Wickelman Gonzalez, name tripped me up there. They're heading to Chicago in exchange for Crochet. I'm Dexter Henry.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It's Ryan Hickey in for JR. We will get to this day in sports history in a second, but Dexter Henry and I were just talking during the break here. We're playing the schedule game really fast with North Carolina. It feels like right away Bill Belichick, without knowing the roster, should be able to go, maybe 9-3 in year one. I'll just do this really fast here. They open against TCU at home. At Charlotte versus Richmond at UCF. That's their non-conference schedule. If, let's say, you split, maybe beat TCU, lose to UCF, and you take care of business against Charlotte and Richmond, we're talking about 3-1. North Carolina going into ACC play. You're playing Clemson, by far your toughest game. It's at home. Let's just say it's an L. You play Duke, should be a win. Stanford should be a win. Virginia should be a win. And your 4 road games at Cal, at NC State, at Syracuse, at Wake Forest, maybe you go 2-2, depending on, what Syracuse looks like under Fran Brown here in year number 2. If you, let's say, go 3-1 in non-conference, you go 3-1 at home, 3-1 on the road, we're talking about 9-3. If you go 2-2 on the road, you go 8-4. I think 8-4 in year number 1 is a great success for Bill. And which, by the way, 8-4 may put him in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Imagine Bill Belichick winning the Mayo Bowl and as a reward getting a jug of mayo dumped on him, which is now tradition for the Mayo Bowl winning coach. Could you imagine Bill sitting there in his Carolina blue with the mayo getting dumped on him, having to answer questions afterwards? Stop, please. Inject that into my veins. I need that more than I need air. Oh, I cannot wait. Oh, I'm so excited. Bill Belichick in college football. 855-212-4227. Do you think Bill will be a successful college football head coach? Amos is calling from Iowa. What's up, Amos?
Hey, good evening, Ryan. Good evening, Dexter. A lot of great points made so far about Bill Belichick's appeal, and I think it didn't seem, at least to me, to make sense up until the detail that I heard today about Michael Lombardi joining him. And I think that really, to me at least, is the linchpin
That's
here.
what sold you on this, Amos? Why?
I think so, because I think, the game has changed when it comes to college versus pros, and I think Belichick was kind of a little old and crotchety and having to deal with a lot of young divas in the NFL. So I think had he made a move, a lateral move, the Jets weren't an option, but another NFL team, I think the stakes would be a lot higher. He's got a lot of low stakes. He gets to go to UNC, where his father coached back in the 50s. He still makes $10 million a year. And Lombardi coming in, Lombardi's going to take a significant amount of that stress off him of the NIL, I think. And so he's basically going to be at a lower stakes version where somebody else is managing the salary, and he gets to build a program from the ground up with, frankly, very little pressure. But I do think he'll be in the Mayo Bowl next year.
Amos, I hope so. I appreciate the call, buddy. I really do. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I mean, we know Bill, right, wanted full control. It seems like he's willing to give up some of that power here. Like you said, is Mike Lombardi, former NFL executive, 30 years in the league, won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, is the first official hire we know that Bill has made to join his staff there in North Carolina. We'll see what else. Well, I guess also his son, right? Steve's coming, who is the defense coordinator at Washington. He's also coming there as well. So we'll see kind of what the staff looks like. But so far, Bill has a plan where he's willing to capitalize on NAL, capitalize on the transfer portal, and try to coach these guys up to 8-4, 9-3 season, which I think will be a success here in year number 1. Really quickly, let's get to this day in sports history.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again.
It's time for this day in sports history.
You see, back in those days, we had radio and you couldn't see anything, and it was primitive and lousy, and we liked it.
On the JR Sport Brief Show.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Big day. It is December 11th, 2024. Let's go back to 1951, where Joltin' Joe DiMaggio announced his retirement. Played 13 years with the Yankees. This is crazy. Won 9 World Series in 13 years. Hit 311 of his 13 seasons. Was a career .325 hitter. 361 home runs. A 13-time All-Star in 13 seasons. A hell of a career for Joltin' Joe. This day back in 1951, DiMaggio called it a career. 1981, Muhammad Ali lost his final fight to Trevor Berbick. That was down in Nassau, Bahamas. 10-round fight, unanimous decision there by Berbick. Ali finished his career 56-5, 3-time heavyweight champ. It's an incredible, incredible career for him there. Not a great ending, but still a great career nonetheless. And finally, 1992, Gary Bettman, named first NHL commissioner. Obviously, he's held the position ever since. Longest tenured commissioner in North American sports history. When he took over, 24 teams were there, helped bring the league now to 32 in present day. Obviously, the big black eye on him, right, is the 04 lockout and that disaster of a lost season. But otherwise, look, NHL popularity's up. Done a good job. League's expanding. Bettman's done a good job here as commissioner for the most part. Those three things happened on this day, December 11th, across sports. Really do appreciate Jack Hardy doing a great job producing. Really do appreciate you for tuning in and making us a part of your Wednesday. If you missed any part of the show, Hick At Nite podcast feed, Night spelled N-I-T-E, available wherever you do get your pods. You can also check me out Sunday nights, if you liked what you hear, right here on the Infinity Sports Network, 10 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Don't you worry, JR will be back tomorrow. Coming next, though, is Bart Winkler. You've been listening to Ryan Hickey in for JR with you right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Appreciate you tuning in. Have yourself a great Wednesday.
You're in a 5-minute break.